They've been able to beat teams like E-Star in their region as well. So those are, again, like very good level competition in the CFPL. So that's where I'm still putting a big leg up right now for KINGZERO.
Yeah, I mean, do you take into account the win for Twisted Minds yesterday on Black Widow against Gaming Gladiators at all?
I really don't, if I'm going to be honest. Like, even for Gaming Gladiators, like we watch them a lot here for the CFWL, and they're not really a team that I felt was very good on Black Widow. I think they always kind of experimented with it because they knew they're going to have to play it probably internationally. So yes, it's great that Twisted Minds was able to get that 10-5 victory, but I really don't think that's, you're comparing an apple to an orange, in my opinion. For
Indeed,
like that.
Indeed. Look, at the end of the day, we obviously have to get through sub-base first before we do get onto Black Widow, and so I think we should turn our attention toward Map 1, which, again, is going to see KINGZERO heading back onto sub-base, and that was a map yesterday that they really did struggle on against Al-Qadsiya. They lost this map 10-3, but they have doubled down on it as a map pick. So KINGZERO hoping that they're going to be able to fix things and make a bit of a better performance for themselves today. And we'll kick off day number 2 of the Esports World Cup CROSSFIRE with Twisted Minds and KINGZERO. Chinese squad starting off on that GR side, and YF taking a look through the wood doors, see if he can find a pick early on in this round, but Twisted Minds not giving him anything.
Yeah, not at all. And it's definitely a really good point you bring up, because we always talk about the statistics of these teams, and it was very surprising yesterday the fact that we saw like such a dominant loss of a 10-3. So we'll see if these guys have been able to figure themselves out a little bit differently. Again, that's kind of the beauty of the competition. As soon as the games are over, those teams are right back into the laboratory. They're kind of re-watching the VODs. They're trying to figure out, okay, here's what we did well, here's what we did poorly. We'll see if KINGZERO have been able to figure out and get some of the patches done for themselves. But we're going to need to see another star performance from YF. He was definitely somebody that I put a lot as a top fragger. Very impactful. I wonder if we'll be able to get that here for day number 2.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. But already things have started to sort of go back and forth, a 1-for-1 so far. YSH with a bit of a job to do here, as most of the attention from Twisted Minds is being drawn in the direction of the B-bomb site. Locker's obviously a crucial part of this map, and that'll be what Twisted Minds are going to try to dislodge initially. Hasn't gone well for them. Botcute unable to find the trade here, and so YSH locking down that position, waiting for Mouse and Datchip to make their way in onto that bomb side, and it's just not quite coming together for Twisted Minds, like a little bit miscoordinated, I guess would be the way that I would describe that round. You've got players kind of trying to fight one by one, and then, the hits not coming together at the same time, and pretty easy hold in the end for KINGZERO to start off their campaign on day 2.
Yeah, not bad at all. And this is where, we were kind of seeing that, KINGZERO, like they had themselves, even yesterday they had such a dominant performance to start the day off where, I think it was a 10-2 victory on port, and then, this kind of, fell apart. And this is where we saw the first map was a really good effect for them, like where they were able to play really well. This is obviously going to be more important considering this is their pick, but very nicely done, a very easy hold. And Twisted Minds, I agree, they're going to have to play this more as a unit. They can't just kind of play this, a little bit of lurky play. I don't think that's going to be the plan of attack. But right now you can kind of see a little bit of a 3-2 setup from these guys. 3 unlockers, leaving just for YSH by himself. He's going to be the one that's close on by. Now Botcute's trying to see what he can do here with the M14. I feel like that's the best rifle in this kind of range, right? I mean, it is decent, but again, we always kind of put the reliance of this like more in those close encounters than more the distance.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they have been able to take Locker's control, so that is definitely a point of contact that they can use to put some pressure on KINGZERO. Going to keep Kimbum here to just keep an eye on it, while the rest of Twisted Minds work their way back over toward the A side of the map, maybe try to clear out wood. Can see KINGZERO kind of aware of that, starting to dump util on this A side of the map. They've got a smoke at the top of the stairs, they've got a smoke in second mid, Flash is going through into wood as well, trying to delay Twisted Minds as much as possible, but you can only delay for so long. Inevitably, Twisted Minds are going to have enough time in this round to make something happen, and I think it might even end up being potentially a B split. We'll have to see what Kimbum ends up doing. Depending on where he ends up, yeah, well, that's going to indicate an A split in the end, and that's not worked out at all. 9U just farming them as they try to make their way into control room. C4 now dropped. It's Kimbum and Carrot that are the last 2 alive, and they've got a lot of salvaging to do here. They're not doing a bad job of it. 2 low HP players, and now it's into the 1v1. Bin locked in on the left side. Carrot well aware of that, so a lot of this comes down to the swing from Bin, who gets nothing done, and he's down to 1 shot. Carrot clutches it out, and Twisted Minds have secured a 2v4. to keep themselves in the contest.
Wow, that was really impressive. Again, just through all the chaos, the thick and thin of it, they're able to get themselves, you know, to be able to push out of that situation. I mean, that was really awkward for Bin too, because again, like, you were kind of tucked in the wall. You don't really have a lot of options. You're wanting to kind of do that jiggle peeking for that information. You want to know how close is he? Is he going to fight me? Is he going to run away? But nicely done from Twisted Minds. The fact they were able to kind of react well to the chaos, get themselves right back into this game. A tie of a 1-1. It definitely wasn't looking good originally, but Carrot able to get himself that double kill. Again, catapulted them a little bit in a better position here. So like we said, I think today is going to be really important as well, because we talked a lot about the nerves. We talked about day one jitters. But it doesn't matter what level you play. Like, you're always going to have that. So now that we're in day two, I think we're going to see a little bit more calm and collected from these teams. And that's where I think the desk made a good conversation that there is an opportunity where some of these underdog stories could actually happen potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I think it would be a big story for Twisted Minds, not just as the team, but as an org, if they were able to get through today. Maybe make it into the playoffs, for example, of CROSSFIRE at Esports World Cup. But long way to go, given that they're down in that lower bracket. But yeah, early inroads being made on the blacklist side here of Subbase. I didn't think that was going to happen. So some impressive moments so far from both teams. And Carrot with the shotgun sniper is essentially just able to walk his way into B, contact play, and get himself a kill. That should never really be allowed, that kind of an entry. But it is going to throw a fox among the henhouse here for KINGZERO, who now have to try to figure out what is going on. XN, nice sharp shot. Oh! In fact, 3 of them, as 3 go down for Twisted Minds, and once again, KINGZERO have a massive advantage.
And XN is honestly, again, the desk, brought this up a lot and saying, like, he was definitely an MVP yesterday, and I agree. Like, this is where the M14, like, it has just played so well to his style. Like, he's able to play these tight angles, he's able to play these, close quarters, and he's just able to fully get the spray down, getting these doubles, and in this kind of a situation, a triple kill, absolutely beautiful. Now we see that Blockute and Carrot, the last 2 remaining players, asking for a 2-on-4. This is desperate now. You have 25 seconds you have to work with. You have to still fight for the bomb control. This was a big problem we saw a lot yesterday for these teams on the BL side, where they're trying to fight for that C4. So now Carrot, a lot at stake here. He has to go for this player here right behind Missile. They know exactly where he is, and it should be all over, and there it is indeed. So very nicely done here from XN once again to be able to put his team back into winning factor.
Already some pretty serious faces on the stage. You can see we're only 3 rounds into the day. Everybody knows how important this game is. It's an elimination game. You don't want to be coming all the way to Esports World Cup and only playing 2 days, 2 best-of-3s. You want to be going the distance. I mean, again, reiterating that this is the largest prize pool, by the way, that we've ever seen in CROSSFIRE history. So, aside from just the prestige of it all, there is a financial aspect for a lot of these teams as well. And
yeah,
it is in some cases life-changing money for teams that haven't had success on the international stage before, which I think you could say for both these teams would be the case. Neither Twisted Minds nor KINGZERO have really gone deep in any CFS events, nothing like that. So,
exactly,
their career is still in their infancy in that instance.
It's a really good point you bring up, Elfish, just because, again, like, that is the biggest thing, is that we really were hammering this down yesterday, saying, like, again, it's a big stage. There's a lot at stake here. Like you said, a lot of history in the making here for CROSSFIRE, which is so exciting. But that's where I was kind of making that comment a little bit earlier, talking about the nerves and talking about, these guys are going to have to just kind of relax themselves. And that's where I'm kind of thinking day 2 is going to be a lot different. And like we said, there's so much, so much more that's riding in this situation, just with the club championship rankings and what that really means overall for the big picture. So that pressure just keeps getting bigger and bigger as we move on through this, which is, you already thought it was already stressful as it is, but now it's got even more.
Yeah, smoke's all over the place at the moment in this round, so everyone has just kind of paused for thought. Wait those smokes out. Flash in here from KINGZERO to try to get a bit of info, but Carrot waiting on the line. Dispatch of XN, who has been the standout so far. Now KINGZERO are going to have to get themselves through a round without that player. They're going to try to re-aggress once again. This could be dangerous, deadly. In fact, they're going to just overcommit to it, and it's going to work. Bin dropping down from the vents has found himself a double. He was the late entry into that engagement that has, again, caused a bit of a ruckus, and Twisted Minds don't have the answer for it.
Yeah, once again, one of these players to step up you know, mega in the sense of just picking up this double kill. And now this A site, theoretically, yes, it's going to be open for grabs. You can see that KINGZERO, they're actually going to allow this to happen. They're going to have YF that's just going to play on the top ground. He's going to see who he's going to be able to find. Now you already have been hot on the heels. Care goes down. This is going to be a problem here for Boulevard. He has to be able to find these kills, but no, he gets caught right in the sniper scope. And right back at it again. KINGZERO going to be able to put themselves in a 3-round situation here. A 2-round buffer, which is going to be very good for them here on the GR side.
A little bit of conversation to be had once again. Yeah, it's going much more to plan for KINGZERO today than what it was yesterday on this map. I mean, something just didn't really work for them on sub-base against Al Qadsiya, but it seems like today they've refocused in. They might have had a bit of a chat yesterday night about what they were doing wrong on this map. And to be up 3-1 on the GR side already is a fantastic start, right? Again, reiterating that this is typically expected to be a BL-sided map. So, Twisted Minds very much got their backs against the walls at the moment. YSH with the jump spot. Very safe position for him to be in. Pretty much impossible to lose your life here, but smoke in there from Twisted Minds is going to obscure his vision.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I think that's why he kind of repositioned himself, because he knew like playing that spot's not really going to benefit anything. Yeah, he might be able to get that cheeky 1 kill, maybe 2 at best, but now with the reposition, this is not bad, because now they're going to have to clear different angles. They're going to have to make this a little bit more problematic for them to do this, but Twisted Minds aren't even entertaining the idea. They're using Carrot as a bit of a decoy. They wanted him to be able to find a rotating kill, but he's the one that actually gets picked here. So now you can see the Twisted Minds back into wood control. They're going to go for the fight of 9U, but man, he's proven to be very lethal, but he might get caught here with the timing, and indeed he does. That's a perfect opening right now for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, but they're going to start to dump some util in onto the site, make it difficult for Twisted Minds to scale in. Look at the nade coverage. Actual damage itself is not that fantastic. And so Twisted Minds will pretty safely have 4 players in the post plant. Now they have been battered and bruised a little bit on their way in, but for the most part you've got relatively healthy players here, and it's KINGZERO that are going to have to make a 2-pronged retake attempt. XN coming in late from the stairs. Here comes Bin. Double entry for him. That's going to be big. They clear out the side itself. They just have to now find those last remaining couple of players over by the stairs. They've got time. Defuse is on. It's back off, and now YF has to get on the chase here. Mouse dodges the final shot and will survive and will clutch the round out for Twisted Minds.
Oh man, they did so many great things, honestly. I mean, they tried to get some of the pop flashes. They were trying to just re-aggress onto the fight, but again, you can just see the post-plant positioning wasn't too bad at all. Very, very nicely done here from Mouse V, and the fact that he's able to put himself in the high ground position, he's able to find the duel, has now allowed them to get back into a closer affair of this game, and now they're going to go right back for wood control. They're not even going to mess around. They're going to just go for the full rush into this. KINGZERO, a little bit late to the party. They're trying to get through the back door if they can. They are able to find that first duel, 9U, but now spamming away through the smokes. That chip takes some significant damage here with Boulevard, but now are they going to commit to this? Are they going to pull the plug? Are they going to try to reconvene a new idea? And it looks like that's indeed the idea. They have plenty of time. And this is not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, I like that. You don't need to overcommit, right? You do have a few players that are pretty low, so if you commit to that A site, you're going to for sure get hit with a couple of nades, bit of spam coming through. The rotation had already come across for KINGZERO, but slow things down, put the element of doubt in the mind of KINGZERO here, force them to make some decisions such as this one. And that will further compound the issues for KINGZERO, because while that's a 1-for-1, it essentially means that KINGZERO are now down 1 player to cover all of the territory that they need to cover. So it's actually worse for KINGZERO in that instance to have that 1-for-1 play out, right? A 3v2 is harder than a 4v3, but this one, a 1-for-0, YF just getting aggressive, finding his timing, and not really quite appreciating the execution. I like the idea from Twisted Minds, but the execution itself, having players isolated, not ideal. So they find themselves in the 2v2, and they are maybe going to be given the opportunity to walk into A, so that's going to be a good read.
It's a great read, because again, they used him as a bait, because him just kind of lurking by himself and that kill from YF, they kind of had the jig of just thinking, okay, they're going to actually go towards B this time, but instead, it's a little bit of a double fake, and now the bomb's going to go down. So this is huge, because YF actually did a full reposition on this, expecting something different. Now they have to refight for this. but they have the HP advantage. That's the biggest thing here. They're able to get themselves through the site. KinGZERO just hiding behind the tires, but oh my goodness, he's still able to find this fight. Now IF needs to do something big. He's got 2 players just trying to flank for him, but I can't believe he finds this, and he does! My goodness, again, YF!
Yeah, such a heads-up play for him to recognize there was a player on the flank. Turns around, easy kill for him, and then in the 1v1 he knew he kind of had his opponent isolated and stuck, and so cleans it up nicely. Big clutch. And that's, I think, in a sense, KINGZERO kind of making amends for the 4v2 that they let slip earlier on in the half, right? You win yourself a 2v1 clutch. You're kind of restoring that equilibrium a little bit for the half. 4-2 is the lead now. And KINGZERO is still very much in control of this game at the moment.
Yeah, just again, but beautiful work from, we just see that YF. The fact that he's able to react to that and just expected somebody to go for a big flank like that. And again, I think Twisted Minds did the right idea. You could have tried to play the double system, maybe try to get that trade, but at the same breath, like, you have to have somebody near the stairs. It makes it a little bit more of an awkward fight because if the player behind Missile goes down, it just creates a lot more of an opening. So it was a bit risky. I actually really liked it from Twisted Minds, but YF just big brain, man. He was just a 300 IQ play there, in my opinion. He was able, the fact that, getting that duel within that second just created such a great opportunity for these guys. But Twisted Minds, in my opinion, are definitely playing a decent game right now. The scoreline might not be fully showing it, but I definitely think this is a big improvement from what we saw yesterday on day 1.
He's going to go through. No damage done. Twisted Minds definitely take a bit of a more relaxed approach to the early rounds, don't they? They're not that team that we've really seen throw any quicker tempo plays in at all. That may be something that they can consider if things continue to go poorly here, because KINGZERO seem to have a pretty good read on what Twisted Minds are up to. Maybe a little bit of a faster play could work out nicely for them. XN under a bit of pressure here, copping a bullet and then a grenade, and now he's down to half HP. But the rest of KINGZERO totally happy with the proceedings so far. Doesn't really feel like there's a lot of pressure on KINGZERO at the moment.
No, not at all. They're playing, again, this very passive setup, allowing them to make the play. So 9U, oh my goodness, they don't even clear this, and I can't believe he gets away with this. It's just murder, and now he gets himself that triple kill. They don't clear the angles. It was such a big mistake, something so obvious they need to clear, and they don't at all. They were trying to be sneaky beaky, but instead, they're the ones that get punished, and now it's going to be a timeout that's going to get called from these guys because they realize they've made some mistakes now.
Yeah, that's just not good enough from Twisted Minds. You can't be allowing 9U to get 3 there. 1, sure, 2, okay, but 3? That's really getting egregious at that point, and that's way too easy for KINGZERO. So, no surprises. We are going to see that tack timeout come through. And obviously that'll give the opportunity for KINGZERO to also have a bit of a conversation to make sure that they can lock down the rest of this half. But I think either way, they've kind of done the job that they need to. I mean, how is this not traded faster?
Yeah, and like you could see, like, all of them are kind of looking forward. They're just trying to hug the wall to say, look, like, let's just try to be, again, no utility. Let's see if we can do this dry. And as soon as we see him behind the box, then we go for the fight. But instead, you have to have that second player at minimum, or even the third. They have to be clearing the stairs angle. You can't just be like, no, they're not going to be there. Why would you? Like, that's a very obvious position. So, again, just a bit of a miscall from these guys. Again, the idea, the attempt of what the strategy could have been, I liked it in some degree because you're trying to do something a little unorthodox, but you have to go back to the basics of CROSSFIRE. You got to clear your angles.
Yeah, for sure. On an individual level, KINGZERO definitely delivering in this game as well.
Absolutely.
XN and 9U, lots of 2-3 player spray downs, and that's kind of what you love to see.
They're locked in, man. And that's what we kind of got the glimpse of yesterday, right? It was, YF that was putting a lot of effect with the TRG, and then 9U was still getting himself a little bit, that ball kind of going down the hill a little bit. Now it's really just rapid. It's really just going down the hill quickly. So this is what you want to see from players in KINGZERO, but this is where now the conversation for Twisted Minds in this tack timeout, like, okay, look, guys, we gotta just figure out, some of these patches and some of these bruises, because this is just not good anymore. The firepower is just lacking now.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention the fact that this is happening on the GR side for KINGZERO, so they'll be feeling supremely confident about closing this map out from here. But they could make life even easier for themselves if they could pick up the last couple of rounds of the half. These 2 rounds can make a big difference, like Twisted Minds, if they get back to 5-4, they're in the conversation for sure. So, it's not over till it's over. A more aggressive play again from KINGZERO as they're going to boost YF up into the vent. He'll hold that line with the TRG. Bokute going to walk right into that, and so it has started very poorly once again for Twisted Minds. Attack timeout not seeming to have made much of an impact so far.
Double locker setup once again. We saw this was a big thing that KINGZERO was going for. They actually play this double behind the right-hand side and then also going for the stairs. So this actually might be very nice because are they going to be able to read that they have to clear this for Twisted Minds? It could be like, you know, Bin goes down quickly. Datchip actually does win that fight. My goodness, look at that. A little bit of a, you know, Bambi just galloping through this, jumps away, now able to keep, you know, that player alive for like the short time being, but now they've lost two. Datchip has taken some critical HP on this, and now KimBomb's trying to even go on this fight. It's a little bit awkward. I don't know why they're trying to do this on the 1v1s. This is just the problem. You cannot do that against a team like this.
Yeah, when you're down 3-on-4, though, you do have to kind of take a risk somewhere. You know, someone has to take matters into their own hands. You kind of throw the fundamentals out the window a little bit and hope that you have an individual that can make a play. And it doesn't really feel like anyone on Twisted Minds is that individual at the moment. You know, you don't have anyone that's popping off. XN certainly on the other side of the coin is for KINGZERO. He'll be good for a 1-for-1, but I mean, yeah, 9U just comes through from behind, picks up the trade. Mouse is stuck between a rock and a hard place because he's trying to make his way into B, but even if he does, he's got Bin there to worry about from up in heaven. And that is going to be that. So 6-2, KINGZERO utterly dominating sub-base at the moment, and it does look like they're going to go on for a 7-2 lead.
It really does. Yeah, the way they're kind of playing again, there's not a lot of mistakes that they're making, because even, you know, I was kind of alluding to the fact of like earlier on, Twisted Minds, I thought they were doing some good strategies, some little bit of bait and switches and some kind of double fakes, but and now it feels like that strategy book is getting a little bit depleted. It feels like they've kind of run out of pages. They don't really know what else they want to do with this. They've been fighting so much constantly for this wood control, which again is good. I love that we're seeing them being active on it. I mean, I talk about being active. Look at how fast they just try to go through this. They're actually just trying to see who they can be able to fight. It's usually XN, but now Bin's the one that's going to be here in the firing range.
Bin's not having any troubles either. He's 9-4 too, so doesn't seem like there's any inroads, any holes here for Twisted Minds to exploit. Again, that same sort of flash into second mid for KINGZERO. They clear that out. The smokes are up. They know they don't have to worry about that area of the map for the next 20, 30 seconds or so. I mean, Twisted Minds, what are they really showing us in this round? Not a whole lot. Kind of hoping that Carrot is going to be able to hit a blind shot through the smoke, but it's wishful thinking.
It is very much wishful thinking, you're right. Just shooting blanks, he doesn't know what to do with it now, and this is the thing where Twisted Minds down in the 4v5 is just not a good situation to be in because, yeah, Bin's taking some damage, but they have to be able to find a way to find this double kill. The C4 are actually all the way in the outskirts of Radio. And the fact that XN just can get away with that, like again, a full swing with the spray down, and look at, he's not even going to overswing this. He's playing proper, gets the kill, plays more passive, allowing the number advantage to be the effect here.
Yeah,
oh, jeez.
Wait for a teammate to go, and they swing together, and it's a 1-for-1, and that is more than acceptable for KINGZERO. Now, though, still coming through from the vent. That's nice from Bokute. Maybe does give you a little bit of a chance, a little bit of a hope in this final round of the half that Twisted Minds could make something happen. 9U has essentially kind of given up the A side. He wants to play for the retake.
And that's fine. Yeah, again, with the numbers, this is okay. They still have a little bit of utility left from what I can remember here. So Mouse V, if he can actually... Oh, he's going to commit to this. 9U, I don't even think he's read this. Oh, he's going to get timed. That's beautiful. He had to do something big. And the fact that he's able to get there, you know, get the backstab kill, that's important because now this thing has turned into a 2v2.
That's a pretty serious mistake, actually, from KINGZERO. And it does make for a very winnable round for Mouse and Bokute, though. They have allowed YSH out close. He's taken a lot of damage on his way through, so he'll be an easy cleanup, and they do manage to clutch it out. Twisted Minds with another clutch victory in one of these rounds on the Blacklist side. So 2 out of their 3 rounds really do come from unorthodox victories. Let's say they probably shouldn't have won those 2.
Yeah, and like you said, I think the fact that that was a critical mistake from KINGZERO, like 9U, you know, it's a tough situation because he, you know, you would think why would he expect somebody to push him like that? But the fact that he didn't even really check his 6 at all, like he was just so confident they were going to try to do a bit of a one-on-one split. So really good work from Mouse V. It's also, you know, that they had to make a play. They had to make a bit of a bold statement, and they do. But a 6-3 half, not bad at all. I mean, the fact that Twisted Minds, like considering how this was going, you'll take it. Now this is all important about getting this first round. You have to switch the momentum here. You have to be able to slow down what's been built from KINGZERO. So that'll be the biggest question. Can they be able to find this opener to get something moving at least?
Yeah, got to get this first round on the board. Has Twisted Minds. And again, Carrot is up to his usual tricks, just spamming through the smoke, this time on the GR side as opposed to the BL side, but it's very much the same line, hoping that he's going to be able to connect something, but he's not even having too much success with that. And look, not a whole lot really happening in this round so far. Both teams kind of just with a bit of a spam battle through the smokes. Here comes some util towards the A site here, and we'll an indication of what KINGZERO is going to be able to do. They flash themselves out of the smoke. Kimbum completely whited by that. Can't see anything, and that is going to allow Nainu up close. But the flash fades, and Kimbum and Carrot are able to hold on to the A side together. YSH and XN will do what they can to salvage, but stuck in a 2-on-3 now. C4 not down, time not ticking in their favor. This is an awkward one to negotiate.
Yeah, this is tough too, because you can see that Baku and Dapchip, they're close together. Oh man, XN, I thought he was going to be able to spot this. Now the flashes come in. This might be just enough time, and indeed it is. Oh, but low, it's just YSH by himself. Dapchip going to be able to put the nail to the coffin, and there we go. That first initial round going to be done here for Twisted Minds, but I got a little bit nervous because Dapchip looked like he was the one that was going to swing initially on the stairs by himself. His teammate was still kind of rotating. But luckily they play together, they're able to get it. And the utility work alone, I felt like that was the saving grace for these guys, because originally Kimbum, when he was anchoring the site, you saw him throw that pop flash that allowed him to reposition behind the missile, and the fact he's able to get that first opening kill. That was huge.
Yeah, I mean, that was the difference maker, really. KINGZERO not able to get themselves an entry on that A hit. Their util usage on the way in looked pretty good, forced the players out of position, but couldn't capitalize on it. And once you miss that entry, the rotations are so quick in a game like CROSSFIRE that you are ultimately fighting the entire team. You need the entry on the BL side, and they didn't get it. So Twisted Minds still keeping their head above water in this matchup at the moment. Not for how long?
Yeah. But that's the thing where we kind of talk about, you know, for a team like Twisted Minds, like them being on the GR side, is that going to be able to allow a little bit more of a, you know, a better point for them on a map like this, where, you know, when we talk about their stats, like, again, when we say domestically it's one thing, but the fact that they are significantly better as a GR-sided team, like we're talking a 61% versus their 53 as a BL. Like that is a massive difference in my opinion. So that definitely paints a very good picture here that these guys are very comfortable in the blue. But we'll see if they're comfortable playing one of the top 5 teams here in China.
Yeah, a bit of a different ball game, that's for sure. Nice with the jump spot into Vent, does spot XN. It's again a very similar approach to the round here for KINGZERO. They're going to flash themselves downstairs. They do meet a counter flash. Carrot trying to slow them down. Not going to be too successful in that department. It's a bit of a split more so than a full hit onto the A site just down the stairs, and that's worked out much better for KINGZERO. A lot of low HP players, so could argue maybe this is doable for Bokyun and Dachip, but they will need the opening couple of kills, and they'll need them quick.
Yeah, the nades don't connect here, but look at, like, you have 3 players that are ready to go. One of the nades here does land, so that's good. One of the HP players low, and they're gone. But there we go. Now it's just Dachip. He's just getting overwhelmed with numbers here. They all just pounce on him, and there we go. Nicely done. They used the bodies to the advantage. They knew that they had low HP. They could not play the situation of one person kind of holding it. Instead, they played the number effect, which is, again, really good communication from these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as Ben gets on this flank, you kind of know that it's over, because even if Twisted Minds get an entry or 2 back into the site there, Ben comes along on the flank as the insurance fund and cleans it up all good. Twisted Minds, though, have started this round off with a favorable couple of duels. Looks like it was a bit more of an aggressive attempt, a fight from both KINGZERO and Twisted Minds, and Worked out for Twisted Minds, though. Carrot under pressure. He's going to fall, and now we're back into a 3-on-3 with a very awkward position for Twisted Minds to try to dig themselves out of. They've lost a lot of map control. 1 for 1. Those couple of remaining Twisted Minds players have been spotted. YSH is wise to the fact he's not going to stick around on the A site and let that C4 potentially drop in an awkward position. He'll just move back to the stairs, play for some relative safety, and see if XN can come across to help him out. And he'll be proven incorrect in that assumption.
Yeah, they're starting to react a little bit better to this situation. Again, they went for a very fast mid control. They're able to get that double kill opener, which was really important. And then they, like you said, the couple players that were able to slip through that ult mid, like from Woodroom, able to get into radio or top radio, like, and then the fact they were able to get, Carrot caught off guard like that. I was thinking that was definitely a massive opening here for KINGZERO, but thankfully for Twisted Minds, they're able to get themselves a rebound. They're able to react to the hecticness of it, but still KINGZERO, not much to sweat about. Still a nice little bit of lead on this one. And they're going to commit Carrot onto the vent, so this is interesting.
I mean, it's nice to see Twisted Minds get the first 2 on the GR side. It kind of starts to fill me with a bit of confidence that they can make this happen. 7-5, it's still a deficit, but these first couple of rounds have actually looked pretty solid from Twisted Minds, so not ready to count my chickens before they hatch just yet. Twisted Minds will be very well aware of the implications of their performances here in CROSSFIRE at EWC, having a greater impact on the whole organization of Twisted Minds in the Club Championship. Any extra point that they can get towards that Club Championship is going to be hugely beneficial.
It absolutely is. Because I think even right now, if I'm not mistaken, they're kind of sitting in that 4th place right now with 3,200.
They would need to make it into playoffs to actually get any more club points.
Yeah.
And to overtake Team Vitality, who is 550 points above them, they would actually need to make it into 2nd. So they have a big job to do. But it's not even necessarily about that. I mean, Virtus.pro also sitting there in equal 4th in CROSSFIRE here as well. So maybe even just making it to playoffs, getting that extra 200 points could keep you in 4th as opposed to dropping you down into 5th, for example. So
exactly.
There's a lot of implications here as a massive whiff from Carrot, but it's not going to matter. He whips out the pistol and still gets rid of Bin. We have a 1-for-1 to start off this round with 45 seconds left to play. YF bringing that C4 forward. Kimbum is the only player anchoring in on this A site. He can't see anything. Smoke, though, will fade and give him 1. But 1's not enough. Site control taken by KINGZERO.
Yeah, not bad. And now Bakuj going really quiet, but now he's got a lot of angles to clear. That's going to be an awkward fight. Now Datchip gets overwhelmed once again by the numbers. Manainu on a tear, able to find this double kill already, leaving it just down to Mouse B by himself on the 1-on-3. Not an easy task. He's going to have to go through the stairway. Again, pretty much a choke point at this point. Now with his HP critically low, he's going to have to hit the best shots of his life if he has any chance of getting this. He's able to get himself in a better position. He's been able to tuck behind this box. They don't know he's here. But again, 9U's hot on the heels. He's trying to go for the big old flank, and now he's been found. And there it is, 9U again, just loading the kill feed for himself. I think he was able to end that with a triple kill, so 9U just doing 9U things.
Yeah, I have to question if that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back here for Twisted Minds. You know, they've been kind of hanging on, playing from behind. That now brings KINGZERO up to 8. Their first round on the BL side secured. They're now definitely within striking distance of closing out map 1 and doing it, let's be real, reasonably comfortably. If they can get it, you know, in the realms of 10-5, 10-6, I think they'll take that.
Yeah, if there's a round to win, it's got to be this one here for Twisted Minds. They were able to get, like you said, the first 2 initially in the second half, and now it feels like KINGZERO starting to feel a little bit better about this one. Now they've kind of figured out a rhythm that they like. Datchip was originally playing this close corner, but instead he's going to retreat it. Carrot does have a nice little bit of a safe-off angle. But again, he has to hope that they don't really use a lot of utility to clear that position. But in this case, you know, KINGZERO not really 100% sure what they want to go for. They're just still playing the waiting game. Maybe expecting Twisted Minds to go for a little bit of a pop aggression, which they did a few rounds ago. We saw that in middle. But a lot of respect for this one here in round number 14. I think KINGZERO realizing a lot's at stake to put themselves on that map point. Okay, Ben.
Yeah.
This is good, though, because, again, what he's doing right now, he's still being a distraction. You have Twisted Minds with 3 committed to this. This could be good, because now you're going to see KINGZERO. They're going to either try to commit towards the A stairs, or they're going to go right through all mid like this. And indeed they do. Oh, no, this is a problem, Jordan. This is not good at all. Bokkute has to be able to find some way to get a double kill in this situation. And he's able to. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, YF. I don't know what he's going to do now in a 1v3. He's going to be able to isolate some of these duels. Bokkute does go down. He'll get that reload off.
Oh,
maybe
no.
not. Okay. Now we're on in the 1v1. He's got no idea where Mouse is, though. Spots him out finally. He's half HP, so advantage Mouse at the moment. YF doing what he can to pre-fire these corners, change up his position, but Mouse getting in on top of him. Pistol comes out. USP's not going to be enough, and you got the sense that YF was just a bit agitated in that 1v1. I think if he slowed it down a little bit, you know, stopped spamming away, just played it a little bit more cool, calm, and collected, he might have given himself some advantages there, but Twisted Minds are going to get themselves another round, keep themselves in this conversation.
Yeah, and honestly, again, I got to give a lot of credit here for Bokkute. The fact that in that kind of a position he was in, and the fact he's able to find that double kill, that was very important, because KINGZERO, I think they played a really good round there. They had the distraction of Bin. They were able to kind of just manipulate a little bit into wood control. Like, they were doing all the right things, but it was the fact that Twisted Minds still had a commitment of a player, or two, I should say, that were able to lock and load themselves in the right place in the right time. So either way, the fact that it came right down to the wire, like you said, YF just needed to hit the chill pill a little bit, but that's a tough thing to to do in those kind of moments, right? It's like it's right down to the bare second, and the fact he was able to get even that double kill is just, again, a thing of beauty.
Patience here from KINGZERO. Haven't really taken any map control at all. I mean, they've got control room, but that's typically given to the BL side, more or less. Have yet to make their way into wood. Waiting down that timer for maybe the second mid smoke to fade, which it now has. So 9U having a little bit of a look. He's lucky Carrot is not posted on that line at the moment. He's holding a bit of a deeper line. We are actually going to kind of be given second mid here, which does allow a lot of options through for KINGZERO. They could split A, they can split B. I think for the moment, they're just going to slow things down, see what YF can get done over in control room, think about whether or not that'll allow them to have a B split, maybe retake that wood control and open up the option for the A split as well. It's very much looking like an A split here. XM to come through late into control room.
Oh, but Bokkute, I was just thinking too, like I could see him on the mini-map, he was actually starting to explore, but oh, they haven't cleared Must Be yet, but they finally do now. Nicely done. Now KimBum, a big task at hand. He has to be able to lock this down. He has to be the sole anchor, and now he's just getting shot from every single angle. A tough position for him to be in, and unfortunately, he's not able to find anything else. He goes to the grave, and now it looks like KINGZERO have been able to solidify themselves in a position of getting this 9th, unless we see something heroic here from Carrot. But unfortunately, it will not be in this moment. And now KINGZERO, map point.
Not too much celebration from KINGZERO just yet. They know they've got work to do still.
Yeah, and let's, I'm Canadian, so, I'm always trying to be positive. But let's not forget, these guys did throw the old choke where they couldn't close it out.
Oh, more aggressive play from Twisted Minds in this round. They're going to push their way forward into Machine Room, take that space. They've also taken the life of Bin, forced KINGZERO away. The response, of course, from KINGZERO is that YF is probing around in wood, but he hasn't been able to find anything. He's smoked off. This one's going to slow down again. KINGZERO are going to have to go back into plan B or C, figure out how they want to work their way through the rest of this round.
Yeah, and you can see how deep that we're seeing Twisted Minds play, right? The double player in radio, kind of just, again, leaving here for KimBum to be the sole player to react to the second mid control from KINGZERO. But you have the double players that are committed in A, so this is actually not that bad. This could actually work out nicely. It's a little bit of a bear trap in some sense, but they're ready for it. That's the biggest thing. KINGZERO, are they going to know that they're kind of stuck in a little bit of a situation? Carrot, you have to hit the shot, gets that first, but cannot find the second. And now things are getting a little bit awkward. Things are getting a little bit weird, but KINGZERO, they've lost some bodies. And Twisted Minds, they might have been able to put a lifeline on this one.
YSH can get a plan if he wants it. And it's quite an open plan, so YF's position here will be quite a critical one. If he can lock it down, there's no chance at all. Datchip just deletes him and it's onto YSH solo. No HP to play with at all. He would have needed perfect shots and even that might not have been enough. So Twisted Minds secure another. We go again. Subbase becoming quite the affair between KINGZERO and Twisted Minds right now.
There we go. Once again, Datchip's actually going to be the one that's going to try to put full aggression onto this. Got the HK in hand, and now Twisted Minds are going to retreat this plan. They're going to try to, they were trying to put a lot of pressure on that. They realized there's not really anybody there, so now they have to reconvene. They have to get their rotates through, but look at how fast the KINGZERO have been able to get this. Look what they're putting so much pressure on Carrot. 4 HP, and that anchor has been pulled out of the water, so now KINGZERO, they got themselves a free sight.
This might be it. Around. KINGZERO have been looking for. They have got Twisted Minds completely locked out of the site. Smokes up at control room, smokes up at stairs, grenades landing on top of a large cohort of Twisted Minds players. They're all tagged up and now they're all down as well. XN and YF combine and then 9U through to finish it off. 10 and 7 and KINGZERO will pick up map 1. Subbase in the books.
Yeah, not bad at all. KINGZERO, they were able to get things done very, very nicely, but I gotta give a little bit of kudos here for Twisted Minds. I felt like, again, they were playing a little bit better than what I was expecting them from yesterday. But at the end of the day, you're playing a very high competitor. KINGZERO, they were able to get themselves in a way better game plan today. You can tell that they were able to, focus up, figure out some of the flaws that they had yesterday. They polished it up quite nicely, and everybody was able to play a very good game of CROSSFIRE here on Subbase, so not bad at all here from their map pick. Twisted Minds did show some creativity, but again, just wasn't enough.
No, certainly not. I mean, I've got to give some credit though. I think Twisted Minds, they've displayed enough on their opponent's map pick to say that there's a chance that this could be still a competitive series. Obviously, map 2 coming up shortly. That is the pick of Twisted Minds, so let's not get too overinvested in a KINGZERO win just yet. I mean, we can remember what happened yesterday for them against Al-Qadsiya. They won map 1. They weren't able to close it out throughout the best of 3. So this was definitely not over yet. I think Twisted Minds have displayed enough to keep me interested in this BO3.
Yeah, I definitely think that, there's still a lot of conversation that's remaining in this one. Like, I know this is still the map pick that was here for KINGZERO, so that's the biggest thing, is that, it was kind of the opposite of yesterday where every team was able to, win the opposite map, things like that. The map pick wasn't going the way, but, I mean, we're still in a world where, this one's done. Now Black Widow's going to be available. I'm still, I'm going to be honest, I'm not as optimistic maybe as Twisted Minds, but the one thing I will say is that I definitely was impressed with the way that they were playing here today so far.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Well, we'll see what Twisted Minds have for us when we do come back for map number 2.
Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
大家好，我是来自 KINGZERO 战队的 YF。今天我们会玩一个小游戏，叫 This or Day， 1打5盘盘嘛。因为难度比较高，然后观赏性也比较大吧。黑日城镇吧，因为这张图就比较靠狙击嘛，狙击手比较容易发挥嘛，而且我就是个狙击手，直接猛冲。因为我们队的流派就是比较莽， 用刀杀吧，因为刀杀还是比雷还要更困难一点嘛，爆能干的强队吧。因为就是想赢比赛，就是得一步一步从干掉强队开始嘛，速战速决。速战速决怎么说呢？如果可以打碾压的比赛，谁都不愿意打纠结的嘛。尽掉最不拿手的图吧，因为这样可以保证自己的胜率吧。先开枪，因为怎么说呢？天下武功唯快不破，后面再翻盘嘛。因为翻盘就打比赛的时候翻盘还是比较爽的吧。
Moments away from map 2 here at the Esports World Cup CROSSFIRE, and we are watching an elimination game. Twisted Minds on the brink of being knocked out of CROSSFIRE, which could have further implications for the organization here at Esports World Cup in that club championship. Currently sitting in 4th place, equal 4th though, with a Virtus.pro who is also taking part in CROSSFIRE as well. So should this team on our screens right here get knocked out today, they very much could be dropping out of top 4 in the club championship. On the other side of the field, it is KINGZERO, the 5th seed through from China, which I think is a team that's really trying to make their mark, stamp their mark on the international stage this year. We saw them at ACL, they didn't do fantastically there, and now here at their 2nd international outing of the year, trying to find themselves a victory to keep themselves alive in the lower bracket.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I think the biggest thing that I think, going into this whole tournament was the fact of KINGZERO. Just like the last time, we were able to see them for sure was at ACL, where again, it was a blunder of an affair, right? I mean, that's where they lost the 2-0. That's when they got, bested by Ubek Maniac, right? And that's where, yeah, they were pretty much a single elimination and you were out. So it was a bit of a trip for them and they were done. So now the fact that we're seeing KINGZERO showing so much improvement and so much different gameplay and everything else, that's been a massive, massive achievement for these guys already. But look, the job is not done. Like you said, we're on the map pick here. for Twisted Minds, where, yes, domestically they have been a force to reckon with, but can they handle the force of a team like KINGZERO now?
Well, we'll find out. I mean, you were highlighting, obviously, KINGZERO, a team coming through from the Chinese region, which is traditionally associated with strong Black Widow maps. But it is the pick of Twisted Minds, so they've got to be feeling confident, at least themselves, that they have something to show for us. And I'll be interested to see, or intrigued even to see, how this double sniper setup is going to work out for them. Carrot, I thought, had quite a bit of impact, actually, on sub base.
He did.
So Datchip now also picking up a TRG, holding a pretty tight line over towards the B-bomb site there. It's something that we're not too surprised to see necessarily on a map like Black Widow. You do fairly often see the double sniper setup.
Yeah, you definitely do. A lot of M14s as well here for Twisted Minds as well. So you have Mouse V equipped with it, you have Kimbum as well. And that's, you know, that was the biggest comment I made yesterday, is the fact that a lot of the Chinese teams were really using the M14 more so than the HK, I should say, sorry. That would, I was kind of expecting that would be the gun, but not the case.
Well, KINGZERO clearing out the box room. That's going to put a little bit of pressure on that B side, so you can see Twisted Minds dumping some util over there themselves. They are feeling that pressure. But information coming through there from Kimbum in mid. He does spot a couple of players on the cross. That sets Carrot up for success, but he's immediately traded back on down, and now it's down to Kimbum and Datchip to try to hold on, and they don't quite seem to have enough. Reinforcements coming through, though, will be a problem. And that leaves YF alone here for KINGZERO. TRG in hand, unable to claim that first shot. That is a big problem. He needs to collect the C4 from Bridge. He doesn't have a lot of time to do it. He's going to be swung by both Mouse and Bokute. And I'd say that's the round over and done with YF. He just has to take this fight to them, so he'll continue up long and continue to his death. First round on the board goes the way of Twisted Minds.
Yeah, honestly, really, really good play from the fact of Twisted Minds, the player that was sitting in like GR spawn, essentially watching like mid double door like that, able to get that intel and knowing that, you know, the three players from KINGZERO were committing to the catwalk, like they were able to again reset up their positions a little bit better. But Carrot, unfortunately, again, his timing was a little bit off. You could see he was at least able to get that one initial duel, but then got instantly traded. But at least starting it off with that entry is not bad, to say the least here. Now you can see a little bit more aggression from them, but they're going to pull back on this one. Putting the double player in B. Nobody playing the green box, interestingly enough. And now they're going to go right back to a 2-1-2 here on the defense. KINGZERO still evaluating all their options.
Yeah, patience a virtue for KINGZERO in this opening engagement. Not that there's really much of an engagement to be had. They wanted something in the middle. Not going to get it. Now they'll revert themselves over towards A long, which again is going to put them in the line of a sniper or two. Datchip and Carrot both over on this side of the map, but YF will claim that first engagement.
Oh, dang.
Are they going to be expecting the second TRG here? Carrot in the back of sight. Well, it may not matter because they've already been able to take quite a bit of space. They're finding these fights with the riflers and they're not quite really landing their shots. 9 knew it takes him a long time to get the better of Kimbum, and Carrot here just floating around again at the back of sight, causing a problem. Won't last too long. It's onto Bokute solo. He sees the feet of Bin. YF on the other angle at long.
Oh, he's got time.
Bokute to reroute. It was an awkward fight for him. I think the engagement from short will be much better. This is a good decision from him, but it has allowed that C4 to be retrieved. YF out in no man's land, but Bin will save the day. And the scoreline back to 1-1.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, we talked a lot about the guns, and that's where you see the HKs being used, and it's such a lethal gun. But the thing is you have to hit those first two shots. You have to be able to land it, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time, right? The gun is a first shot accuracy. It's very, very strong, but once you kind of miss that initial one or two, then you're kind of getting into a bit of a dire situation, and that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately for him, you just almost had him a YF. The fact that he was able to, like, again, tuck his head away in that kind of a fight, just really good mechanics that we see from KINGZERO that brought them back into this game, right into the situation where I think theoretically that could have been a Twisted Mind round, in my opinion. If he would have been able to find that duel, that would have turned into a 50-50 situation.
I mean, there was a couple of laboured sprays there from KINGZERO, certainly, so there was opportunities for Twisted Minds, no doubt. But KINGZERO changing their approach up in this round. Remember, they did probe toward the box room in round 1, but they were not committed to be. This one very much looks a little bit more committed to me. There's going to be the pop flashes through into the box room and actually into the site as well, but it has not gone to plan. Just the one trade back from KINGZERO is not quite going to be enough to allow them into the site, and certainly with any semblance of control. XN creeping up close could be a bit of a problem. Datchip definitely not expecting him on this close line. He's able to get himself a frag. It could change the course of this round. Unfortunately, gives away his position. And so it's still going to be a 4-on-3 for the post plan. And Twisted Minds have that player advantage with the wrap coming in from Mouse on the flank.
Yeah, with the 3 players alive here too, you can see that YF, he's trying to make a bit of a play. And this is not a bad idea, but that flash catches him, and the utility once again from Twisted Minds. Not to mess with here, but now XN, he's getting a little bit angry. He's realizing, look, I got to do something big. I'll get myself the double, maybe even a triple. It's going to be a little bit labored when he gets it done. Now Datchip critically low on the HP. I don't know if he's got any options here, Jordan. I just don't think it's possible. It just feels like he's been dealt the wrong hand, and I cannot believe that XN again could do this to these guys.
Yeah, this is starting to become a real problem now for Twisted Minds. You know, they're kind of looking a little bit outclassed, not just on sub-base, but also here on Black Widow. And again, I remember you raising those concerns about picking this map into a Chinese squad, and we're starting to see the fruits of that labor come through for KINGZERO, who will lose a player early on in this round. That's a bit nicer from Twisted Minds. A bit more proactivity coming out from the sniper of Datchip. Just kind of pushing through those mid doors, catching KINGZERO, who were playing a bit lackadaisically, really, with that kind of a cross. And this round has kind of fallen apart as a result, so maybe Twisted Minds still have something to display for us on this GR side. Now, again, bearing in mind that this is a map where you can get a bit of work done on either side, but typically just tend to favor the BL side a little bit. You could be, at least as KINGZERO, kind of hoping that they're going to come away with a 5-4 lead out of this half.
Oh, Carrot! Oh, I thought he was going to have him dead to rights, but again, YF, the fact that he can get away with a duel like that. Look, we know they're in a 2v4, but that could be a bit of an opening here. But the fact that Kim Bum can put himself in a bit of an off angle, that's not bad at all. So 9U's going to be done and removed. So very nice round from Twisted Minds, putting some good aggression in mid. We saw that initial duel here with the sniper, then followed up with his teammate with the rifle. So that already put them in a power position on the 5-on-3 instantly. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Twisted Minds, despite, like I said, my concerns of this map being against this team. I'm becoming a believer, maybe, Jordan.
More of a default setup this round from KINGZERO, spreading across the map, putting pressure on both long and box room. We do, of course, have YF there as well, with that TRG in mid. Eager to ensure that no one from Twisted Minds can make a push there, but there is a push happening anyway. And it's over towards A long, which Bin and XN are set up to capitalize on, and they're unable to do much about it. Carrot and Botcute cleaning up that engagement. There was a numbers advantage, certainly, for Twisted Minds over there, but it should not have been that easy. This round, again, falling by the wayside for KINGZERO. It's just turning into a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, a couple of these rounds now it's starting to feel like KINGZERO, they're kind of just hoping on the firepower maybe to get them something moving, but that's the thing. Like Twisted Minds, like we said, they obviously have some stuff up their sleeve for a map like this. And the fact that we're seeing them playing this well on the GR side, which is not typically their best side, like the BL, like you alluded to earlier, is their better side on this map, statistically. But the fact they're making this very competitive, they're in a position where they could maybe win this round with 4 players live, maybe. Not bad at all.
YF, if he could make some magic happen here with the TRG, could
spotted
still pull this round back. And you're right, he's got an idea of where Kimbum is. He's just waiting for that mistake, hoping maybe this grenade is going to push him out. It's not going to happen.
Oh, man.
Kimbum's aware of the game right now. So YF not having any success, he's going to have to commit harder for an entry, and that will ultimately be his death. YSH solo is going to do a nice job, double kill, but it's not enough. And so, again, Twisted Minds find another round and they start to stabilize themselves on their own map here.
Yeah, but again, like, you know, you kind of go into these little bit of like micro macro details, and the fact that, like you said, Kimbum knew that he was found, the fact that he was just kind of jumping in that position, knowing that he could get spammed on the lower portion of the box. It's like right down to these fine little, you know, minute details that make such a difference. Because if he would have went down, that could have created a bit more of an opening for KINGZERO, but you saw they had to get desperate. They had to push somebody through the window, and then they were the ones that got removed on this. So Again, some really good movement, some good mechanics here from the Twisted Minds team. Now they're going to even re-aggress onto this cat control. Mouse V is in a great position. All he has to do is Kimball has to be the one that goes for the initial duel in this. If he can distract, that could be huge, but Mouse V unfortunately does swing it, but XN, he's able to get that opening start. Finally, something here for KINGZERO.
They've got to make sure they convert on this round, though. Definitely not said and done just yet. A 4v5 lead is great. Kimbum do some tricks close behind this smoke. It's a bit of an off angle. You won't be expecting him here, but opting to move back to a little bit more of the relative safety of the bridge and even dropping back down to try and clear out mid. He knows that he's got Botcute, who's also playing aggressively in mid, so there is something on offer for Twisted Minds. They're not looking to capitalize on that just yet. They may have missed their window. As KINGZERO start to make their way forward over the bridge, 9U will drop down to his death. Kimbum waiting for him. Carrot good for one as well, but that is still not enough to hold on to the side, and that is the power of the opening kill going the way of KINGZERO. They trade poorly on the way into the site, but they still have a really good post plan here, 3-on-3.
Yeah, they really do. And now the double player on the catwalk here from Twisted Minds. They're going to try to see what they can get away with, and Bach is trying to get that HK into some activation, but now his teammate's going to retreat this. Oh, they're going to go through the lower portion on this. Oh, this is interesting. It could be enough of a distraction, though, because you can see that XN's actually starting to push onto this. Oh, my goodness. YF does miss that shot. Does it create the opening? No, it doesn't, because XN, he's just the annihilator. He's able to find that 1-2 combination, and my goodness, I can't even believe he gets himself that double kill.
That ended up being a little bit too easy, actually. For KINGZERO. Quite catch the kills that XN got, but I think he was sort of spamming through the bridge there from above.
Yeah, XN is definitely a player you just cannot ignore, man. Like sitting in at 8-4 already, like he's just brings so much impact to the server.
He's been a real standout for KINGZERO here at the Esports World Cup, that's for sure. Great to see. I mean, I'm always a fan of when the riflers are playing well. You know, I think a lot of the time in TAC FPSs, you see the snipers, and they're the ones that are ultimately kind of like bringing that star power. They have the strongest weapon in the game, but I think there's definitely something to be said for the flexibility that a rifler that's performing well can bring to the table. You can do a lot on the entry, the defense, on the lurk. You know, you can kind of be anywhere and have impact. So it's really, really valuable when you've got someone like XN doing what XN is doing. That chip's been spotted out here by YF. This is a dangerous battle for these two. Playing the game of whack-a-mole with one another. They're connecting though. He's going to allow KINGZERO to walk up on the left wall of A long and take a lot of space. This will be problems for Twisted Minds if they don't find these opening kills. Luckily, Botcute is there to deliver at least one in middle, which will relieve some pressure until 9U jumps up top, grabs himself a double, Carrot low. C4, though, in the possession of Twisted Minds, and XN needs to come up big, which is too much to ask this time. A 3v1 for YF. He does have time. Mouse is in a pretty unorthodox position, so you'd say YF is probably just dead right here, and that will be the case. So 4-3, Twisted Minds maintain the lead.
Yeah, it kind of feels like even in some of these like uncomfortable positions, they're actually, again, reacting very, very well to it. And I think, again, when we talked about this is their best map in their entire map pool, like, they have a very strong record on it. And I was, a little bit negative about it, but I mean, it really is showing that they do have some creativity on it. Nice little bit of a retaliation, though, through long. The fact they lose that initial player of Carrot, now they actually do take away XN. So, like, we talk about impact for impact here. So you've already lost two impactful guys, and this now is, again, wide open in this situation.
KINGZERO going to be taking their time outside the box room to clear out all the nooks and crannies. Not going to be finding anyone. Twisted Minds haven't really been playing too aggressively on these GR sides, both here and on sub-base. They play a very sort of default style of CROSSFIRE. I think they're not really the kind of team that likes to throw too many chaotic rounds in here and there. They are happy with the percentage plays more so. And there's another one of those.
Oh, good smoke.
As a good example, Kimbum just jump spotting at the box, drops the smoke. This is really nicely played by him. Just pure fundamentals, and it's going to get him a nice double. Isolating those duels really easily. And so Twisted Minds starting to put their noses in front, though Bin, I think, has spotted Datchip here. Bokyut's not seen him. Somehow Bokyut has not seen him, so Bin will be finding the freebie onto Datchip. He doesn't know that Bokyut is low, though. He's going to expect that there's nobody there, because if he would have known that there was someone there, he should have been dead. So that ultimately is still going to end up losing the round for KINGZERO. A bit of fortune for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, and this, again, just comes down to the protocols. Like, that's what I was mentioning before, is that Twisted Minds in that kind of a situation, I was thinking, okay, look, Bokyut kind of gave it up a little bit. Like, I thought he was going to be able to see him on a screen, but reacts perfectly to the situation. So that's the thing. We're seeing that Twisted Minds, despite whatever's happening to them, they seem to have an answer, which has allowed them to get themselves into this 5-3 score line as we get into the last round of the first half. And KINGZERO desperately needing this, especially being on the BL side. But Twisted Minds, they've been able to play a very good game. Everybody's, you know, contributing equally. Like, there's not like a hard carry, you know, something we saw yesterday for like a team like Rock, where, you know, if Snake didn't get kills, then it felt like nobody was getting kills. That's not the case here for this Vietnamese team at all.
Oh, 1 round left in the half here, and KINGZERO kind of desperately need to win it. They're walking into the trap, though. I mean, look at the setup the Twisted Minds have got here on short. This is quite dangerous for KINGZERO. A re-smoke comes through. Might just bust through the smoke, which I can't imagine is going to work, though the entry, at least the initial, has been hit, and the trades are through as well. That's craziness from KINGZERO, and it catches Twisted Minds off guard. But will they be prepared for Mouse, who is still on the site? He's given away his position, and that'll be an easy cleanup for Bin. So an unorthodox round for KINGZERO, but they'll take it, because it is going to result in a win unless there's a 1-on-3 from Carrot, which is going to be pretty difficult given the circumstances. Doesn't have the territory that he'd require, and doing it with a TRG here, not going to be easy from the low ground.
No, definitely not. A really, really tough task here for Carrot, and a 1-on-3 in this kind of a position. He might be able to get a little bit of a reposition on this, maybe, potentially. But you got Bin right above him. You got YF just sitting on the back of Green Truck. Already the timer's halfway through. Bin should be able to get the job done, and indeed he will. So a 5-4 is going to be for the first half. So for KINGZERO, I actually love the idea that, you know, we made the comment that there was a triple player setup from Twisted Minds on the short. We were saying this is really good. That smoke was thrown at the, you know, the right time, but, you know, KINGZERO, they kind of made a decision. They just wanted to go for something, you'll again, unorthodox, I kind of say, and like they were just going to send it, and it works out very, very well. They actually get the perfect timing. Now we can see that KINGZERO are going to play aggressive once again. Bin's been able to make it across into water, so this is a power position. 9U might be able to find this kill, and indeed he does. They sniff him out, they take him out easily, so now they put themselves in a 5-on-4 so early on in the round.
I mean, you can already see the difference in style from the two teams from half to half. KINGZERO playing a bit more forward, a bit more aggressive on this GR side. They're pushing out of the box room, they're trying to take that space, whereas Twisted Minds was playing a little bit more reactively back in their sights. So different mentality being brought by both teams. In this instance, it's worked out for KINGZERO. Give themselves that player advantage, but they do also give up a long control. Carrot has been able to set up there in barracks. Strong position for the sniper to be in. Obviously KINGZERO playing around that, though, quite aware of it. Look, they're quite safe from that line. It's going to allow Twisted Minds a bit of space for free. There's a good shot in from Carrot. So all of a sudden we're back on until YSH and Bin are able to activate. 9U is in there as well from Bridge to try to cause a bit of a problem. Twisted Minds trading pretty effectively into that site. 2-on-2 for the post plant now. But XN from a cheeky angle, unexpected by Datchip. All of a sudden we're back to a solo player for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, and it's just Bokyut now. He knows one player's on short. He's able to find that one too. So now this thing from a 2v1 down to the 1v1. 55 seconds remaining. Bokyut, though, does have some time that he can work with if he wants. He tries to go for the commit on the USP battle, but this one is going to go for XN once again.
Yeah, headshot connected. That's what he needed. He was low on HP. Had to be perfect for KINGZERO, and it was. Coach still doesn't look too happy about it.
Yeah, some of the expressions from some of these coaches definitely kind of wonder what's going through their minds, right? Because there's only so much they can say during that, you know, one big tack timeout. But now we see the Twisted Minds again able to find that opening duel. That's actually going to be the activation here of Kimbum to put the TRG as the opening. So taking down 9U. But Bin now putting himself in this position once again that he's playing aggressive on water. He really wants to make a play. And again, this is a ton of information. Look, he's even still pressing forward on it. He's kind of just going, look, nobody's here at all.
Yeah. I think you need to do this, though, when you're down 4 on 5, right? Like, somebody needs to take a little bit of a risk. And in this instance, it has been Bin. And as you say, he's spotted absolutely nobody. He's been able to re-smoke as well. You're going to boost the player up? No? Going to set up with a forward hold for B, which I'm interested to see how this one plays out because it's a bold strategy for KINGZERO. They do get that boost. They're going to be able to play high-low. Twisted Minds are walking right into it. YSH and Bin get deleted. There's no way they don't get a kill there.
I can't believe it. They had such a good setup on it, too. I really like the idea of it, but now, I mean, it's just down to one player only. And YF, yeah, we know he's been playing well. Maybe not really showing the impact that he did on map 1 here for map number 2, but maybe this could be the moment he could be able to find something. But no, Carrot's got something better in store. So very nice round from Twisted Minds. Again, just knowing angles to clear, knowing some of the gimmicks that could happen. And like you said, the fact they're able to find that double kill in the high and low. Yeah, chef's kiss right there.
I can't believe that, you know, I mean, at least trading like 1 for 2 there.
Yeah.
Unacceptable to be going 0-2 as KINGZERO with a high-low setup like that one. But I think they had a bit of trouble making the boost happen, and so that became awkward. Another aggressive play out from both teams. Twisted Minds very much expecting this fight, but it'll go against them. And Carrot's been deleted as well. KINGZERO are not giving Twisted Minds any room to breathe, myself included. I can't stop talking. I just have to keep... There's just constant action at the start of these rounds. Not allowed to take a break after the round. And I don't necessarily mind that. I appreciate the pace which KINGZERO is playing with here because it is keeping it ticking along and it's really not giving Twisted Minds a lot of time to think. Datchip obviously here in the 1v4 is going to be able to slow things down and that gives him some time to talk. But he's also got a round that he has to try to negotiate solo and that's a good start.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I mean, the one good thing to say about this is that since he has a lot of time, it gives him some room to kind of work around the map. He can try to maybe find these strangling players here from KINGZERO. You got the double player at A, though, but you do have that lurk of YSH, you know, kind of just, again, posted on the bomb. So for Datchip, this is really tough. Again, he has to clear so many different angles. He has to do so many different things. But he might have a little bit of timing on this. It's still 1 minute and 10 remaining on it. Now the 3 players going to be joined together, a united front. But he might just be able to find this timing of YSH. He's getting himself here boosted up. He's trying to do this quietly. He's trying to do what he can, but this is tough. Makes his way up. YSH now a reposition. You can see that you can see him right there on the bottom left. He's kind of just waiting things out. He knows that this should be the play. Datchip making some noise. Oh, but he's not able to find that connection, and there we go. KINGZERO will be able to bring this thing back, and I love, like you said, the pace they brought to this, the fact that they put full aggression onto it. They just kind of throw the Hail Mary, and it works out perfectly.
I don't know if you can keep doing the same thing, though, as KINGZERO here. Like, that's probably, what, 3 rounds in a row now where we've seen them push out of the box room aggressively. They've got to change it up, and they are going to change it up, actually, in this round. The aggression is going to be over towards A-Long instead. So you can see Twisted Minds still, like, playing around that potential aggression on the B side of the map. They send multiple members there. Their forces congregated in that direction, and that's what we call conditioning. So KINGZERO have essentially conditioned Twisted Minds into anticipating aggression on the B side of the map, and instead in this round, they're going to try and play a little bit more aggressively elsewhere. They kind of get that territory for free on A-Long. That's really good work from KINGZERO so far, the way that they're playing this GR side. And Twisted Minds have to figure out what is going to be the X factor that they can throw in here to change how this half is playing out, because it has not been a good half for them so far.
No, it really hasn't. Because let's not forget, I mean, the first half was still a very close encounter. That was a 5-4. Yeah, that was in favor for Twisted Minds. But again, this is, you know, if we want to look at stats and we want to just look at the numbers solely, I mean, this is the side that Twisted Mind, you know, they should be performing better. This is where they typically play a lot better on this map. And it's been a bit of a blunder, to say the least. And now they're going to try to see if they can go for the B pop. 9U. Oh, he's going to be able to find that opener. Can he find himself one more? He's getting overwhelmed by numbers, but doesn't even matter. It's 9U. He's just putting up himself that double. Can't get the triple, but it's 2.5 kills. It's all down to one lonely Carrot. Yeah,
I don't know that one lonely carrot is going to be able to take down 3 KINGZERO players, but he's got himself one so far.
He's got time.
C4 dropped in no man's land, though, will be a bit of a problem. He's now been spotted out by Bin as well. Half HP or less than half, and deleted in the end. So KINGZERO picked themselves up yet another round. Good little streak being built here on the GR side. It's got to be a real cause for concern for Twisted Minds. Let's reiterate again the implications of them being knocked out right here at EWC CROSSFIRE means that they will not be getting any club championship points out of this particular tournament, so they'll be still sitting on 3,200, which gives a great opportunity for Virtus.pro, AG.AL, both teams here in CROSSFIRE, to potentially leapfrog them. I mean, we very much expecting AG.AL to even be a potential finalist here at CROSSFIRE, so they'll be picking up a lot of points. So that does not bode well for Twisted Minds hanging on to 4th in the club championship here at Esports World Cup. And they are potentially going to be saying goodbye very shortly, as this is an elimination game. Their key is going to be crushed, assuming they go down 0-2 here to KINGZERO.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see the key crushing later. Yeah, I think it's going to be...
It's really loud.
Yeah, apparently it's quite loud of a process, but I'm still excited to see it. I love that whole concept, and the fact that you can, you know, pick the opponents for the ones you want for the broken keys to be inside, like
in the trophy.
Yeah, that's
if
just
you're the eventual winner.
Yeah, that's the best thing ever.
I do think that the whole trophy system here at EWC is quite unique, quite cool.
It is very, very unique and cool. It's definitely something new, and I like it. You know, I'm not much for, you know, liking a lot of new things, Jordan, but
really,
that, yeah, you know, sometimes
you got old age playing in there a little bit, or
you know, I'm playing my age card here because you know, the old dog can't, you know, always learn new tricks. But look, I'm taking the new trick with the trophy system. I'm all for it.
I mean, KINGZERO, old tricks from them because they've got that same high-low setup. Look at this, Bin and 9U outside of B are actually going to continue to push their way forward. They're getting a lot of information. It is no secret for KINGZERO where Twisted Minds are at least head up right now. Whether or not they go back over to B remains to be seen. It doesn't look like they are calling the cancel, and that's going to be awkward for Bin, who's really in trouble now. He's lost his teammate 9U, and Bin goes down as well. That is a really awkward case of timing for KINGZERO because they had it out, they had it all. They had the flank, but unfortunately for them, Twisted Mind turned around and said, we're not actually going to go A, and that kind of caught KINGZERO in transition. And so that is 7-7. That'll be the first round in the second half going the way of Twisted Minds. So all this talk about key crushing and getting knocked out of EWC here in CROSSFIRE, well, it might be a little preemptive. Job's not yet done by KINGZERO.
No, for what we know from KINGZERO as well is, like, I mean, they've been able to get through some really bad situations. They're able to still come out on top of it. But now we're going to see that KINGZERO, they're going to fight for this long control. Double players into hut. But do they want to commit to that, though? Triple player long, which means now Twisted Minds, they might not fully know that there's some big aggression like that. They know there was some utility used, that there was some noise, but it's a bit of a guessing game. So now you can see that KINGZERO have kind of left the one player. That's going to be Bin by himself. So now that allows the other teammates to kind of play the 2-2 system a little bit stronger. A little bit more presence towards middle in this case. But Twisted Minds, I mean, they've been active. They've been able to get themselves moving around here. They went for a jog, and now they have this cat control if they want it. But you still have to worry about YF. He's the one that could be the difference maker here at Green Truck.
He doesn't have to worry about long at all, as long as Bin survives. So he is going to be locked in on this short angle. Nade goes in on the B side of the map, but I'm not really sure that's going to be enough to convince KINGZERO that there's a whole lot of presence over on B. That's one thing that I think is a little bit lackluster from the general CROSSFIRE player base is you oftentimes do see them kind of try to fake out a bomb site, but if that's the fate you're going to throw, it's really not fooling anybody, is it? They're just going to wait the timer down, which I think is actually the correct decision here for Twisted Minds. Like I said, that fake's not fooling anybody, but now with the patience that they're displaying, KINGZERO's kind of wondering, what on earth is going on? They've got no ability to get information. Obviously, they know that long is still clear, but apart from that, KINGZERO actually have no idea where Twisted Minds is, where they're setting up, what they're doing. They could be anywhere right now. They could have 4 players set up right outside the box room, ready with a pop flash to work their way in. But KINGZERO don't know that. 30 seconds on the clock. Twisted Minds got to go.
Yeah, they got to make a play now. It's only 24 seconds remaining onto it, but the instant trade not bad. But are they going to commit towards Catwalk? YF, look at that. Good, strong position, but he can't find more than that one. Things are getting a little bit A little bit more difficult here. They have to get this plant through. Looks like they're going to be able to. But now, KINGZERO, there's a bit of a post up onto this. 9U's going for a bit of a struggling fight. KimBum, he doesn't even take any damage. He's been able to sit pretty on this situation.
Bin's going to be the X factor, but he's spotted out on long. XN drops as well. That'll be round over and done with. Twisted Minds clean it up, and that's a big one. That's the first cheer you're going to hear from Twisted Minds all day, as they recognize that they are now in the lead on map 2 with the chance of forcing this one through to a third. Tac timeout going to come through as well, so 1.5 minutes for both teams to have a chat about how they want to close this map out. And Twisted Minds, that is their key. That is in real danger of being crushed, but right now they're fighting for their lives, and they're, again, keeping their heads above water. Maybe they can paddle their way through to a map 3.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up. I mean, it's always interesting with all the variety of teams that we have here at EWC, and we talked so much about who made it through the qualifications and the spots that were up for grabs, and teams from all over the different regions in the world. And it's always interesting because Falcons from the Vietnamese league, like, they're a very loud team, a very vocal team. Twisted Minds, despite them again being the second best team in the region, like, you kind of wonder if they get motivated from somebody, like kind of getting loud and kind of screaming things out, but not looking like the case. And they have been kind of just that, like, quiet mouse in this situation, right? Like, this little bit of a replay is the most I feel like I've seen in a while too. But it's very, very interesting because some teams, they don't really need that little bit of a motivation that way. Like, it's more about just the gameplay in itself. Whereas because yesterday, like, that is a loud team. Like, that is a team that they're going to get in your face and they're going to be screaming at you across the room. So that's always the big thing for me in the LAN environment, where that can be a little bit of that, a little bit more of an X factor, I would say.
Just a round out here for KINGZERO, by the way. They've got to try and stave off the OT. They're going to get aggressive up middle. Bin was spotted out just before the smoke bloomed, and this might be it for Twisted Minds to at least secure that 9th, which will be a massive sigh of relief for them. Have a 3v5 from the outset, Laz. I don't really see KINGZERO coming back from this one.
You just got to believe.
Well, I don't. You believe in the Tooth Fairy still? Santa Claus?
Santa Claus, I mean, that could be a real thing.
Breaking hearts here right now, man.
Look, we have some viewers that, I don't want to upset the potential people that still believe in it. Sure, Neo does.
Hopefully there's a couple of believers for KINGZERO right now. But failing to find the way personally. Start of this half looked fantastic for KINGZERO, but it's just kind of fallen apart. There's been a couple of awkward rounds. I think they've had a couple of awkward timings, to be fair, right? With the push out from B that didn't work. That's kind of been the catalyst for this little resurgence that Twisted Minds had. I think on the surface of it, that actually looked like a really nicely played round for KINGZERO, but they might have just overstepped their bounds a little bit and kind of faltered at the final hurdle here. Twisted Minds, as long as they don't mess this one up, are going to be going to 9, which again, like I said, secures the overtime. And then it's a real uphill battle for KINGZERO to win the map from there. Very tentative from Twisted Minds, even despite the fact that they've found that 5-on-3 lead. They know how important this round is. And with 2 snipers on the other side of the field, the chance that if you make a mistake, you lose a couple of players quickly, all of a sudden you're back into a 3-on-3. 38 seconds left on the clock here. Twisted Minds really waiting that timer down. That's when mistakes can happen.
Yeah, this is when they got to get moving. Like, this is where you can't wait too long. I mean, this 30-second mark, like, this is where they finally get that opening duel, which is going to be good, and that should be enough for them to get into the site. YF close on by, but man, Bakute again, just beautiful shot. Fresh, nice haircut, and yeah, looks like map point looking like it could be the factor unless we see a heroic effort here from XN. Oh dear goodness. A 1-on-5 has turned into a 1-on-3.
He's lost too much HP.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go for it. He wants to use that extra time here as KINGZERO to just have a bit of a chat about how they're going to try to close out these next 2 rounds, force the overtime, and obviously at that point I guess you can worry about the OT. You don't necessarily need to concern yourself about it just yet. Just make sure you lock in these last 2 GR rounds. Carrot, not going to give them too long to chat. And Twisted Minds getting pumped up off the back of that one as map 3 is looming.
Yeah, you can start to hear them getting excited. They know that there's a lot at stake here. And again, this is still pushing this thing all the way to the third map, which is, again, we weren't really sure if this could have gone the distance. We thought maybe it could. I was, a bit skeptical to say that Black Widow, a map that they can maybe win on. But if we get to third, it's going to be Port that's going to be that final decider. But now KinGZERO, look at how fast and ferocious he's just going to go into this. He just puts on the full acceleration into it, but it's an instant trade back from both these teams. But it is going to be Twisted Minds that come out on top in this situation. This could be all over. It's all just down to one player remaining for KINGZERO. He has to be doing something big here, but he's getting shot from the front. He's getting shot from the back, and now he has to go for the one-on-one fight. And Twisted Minds, they're playing this proper. They're just waiting things out. Bokute, you got to make sure you don't get caught, but instead they're going to be able to get this thing solidified, and we're going to 3.
We are indeed. Twisted Minds take map number 2. Black Widow goes their way, and each team picking up, I suppose, the expected map that was their choice. It's a nice one for Twisted Minds. Once again, some really, really close matches here in Group A. Both of the initial opening games going 2-1, and now here the third game, the lower bracket elimination match, also going to go all the way to the distance. The concern that I have is we're moving into Port, and KINGZERO looked fantastic on that map yesterday, so still a bit of a cause for concern, I would say, for Twisted Minds. But yeah, look, either way, we said they looked really good, or at least good enough on sub-base to imagine that they could push this through to a map 3, assuming that they could get it together on their own map choice here at Black Widow, and they did exactly do that. It was, again, a little bit up and down, right? It's been a bit of a roller coaster of a game with Twisted Minds starting quite poorly in the second half. It kind of looked like KINGZERO was going to run away with things there. Their GR side, I think, 3-4 rounds in a row to start off that half, and that then all of a sudden kind of looks quite problematic for Twisted Minds. But then, a switch kind of flips, and all of a sudden Twisted Minds don't seem to be able to make a mistake. KINGZERO getting caught off on a timing or two here and there, and kind of fell apart from there. So that'll be a disappointing one for KINGZERO. I think in the same vein as that game yesterday against Al Qadsiya, after map 1, you would have thought, look, KINGZERO's in a good spot to close this series out, but they just don't seem to be quite good enough to do that at the moment against these other teams at EWC. So something that KINGZERO's going to have to work on going forward, assuming they do go forward, because now they are also in that same position as Twisted Minds, where they may be eliminated. But we'll have to find out how all of that does play out when we do come back for map number 3. It all comes down to this for one of these two teams. It is going to be the final map that they will play at the Esports World Cup, CROSSFIRE, the inaugural CROSSFIRE competition, of course, at the Esports World Cup here, Laz. And both these teams, I'm sure, would have had aspirations of lifting that trophy, becoming the first champion of CROSSFIRE at Esports World Cup. But unfortunately, for one at least, their road ends in the next hour or so. Who will that be? We have yet to find out, with KINGZERO and Twisted Minds with their backs against the wall, which is a little surprising. It looked like it was going to be KINGZERO that would come away with the better of it, particularly as that second half of Black Widow kicked off. But Twisted Minds fought back nicely, and now we find ourselves here on map 3. So Laz, where do you sit for this one? You can't be on the fence.
No. I'll give you a decisive decision on it. I think for me, like, you know, I was kind of just remembering some of the statistics of this, and, you know, again, this map, for both these teams, it's not the best. I mean, we're sitting Twisted Minds at a 2-2 record. We're sitting KINGZERO, you know, a 4-4 record. But the one thing I do want to make a comment about, and again, this isn't any disrespect to the competition in the CFPL League, is that KINGZERO really on this map, they haven't really been able to beat any of the like top 5, top 6 teams on this. Like, they seem like they get squashed pretty hard. It's all the other teams that they've been able to get that win column on. So when I think of them statistically on it, I don't know if I'm fully convinced this is a strong map, but I'm going to say I'm still impressed with the way that Twisted Minds is playing, so I'm thinking that they might be able to edge this one out.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to go the way of KINGZERO. I think getting to start on the GR side is such a big advantage, but hey, if Carrot continues to play the way he did on Black Widow, maybe that will be a bit of a convincing factor for me. It's a nice opening kill for him. As we find ourselves in the 5-on-4, and Twisted Minds, you know, you don't get the opportunity to win many rounds on the blacklist side of Port. So a 5v4, what better way to start? They've got to convert this one, because every round on the blacklist side of Port is like gold.
Yeah, it really is. And like you said, I mean, the biggest thing that we wanted to see a lot of is, like, we talked about, you know, the riflers that are, you know, able to bring a lot of action into this and the impact they can do. But a map like this with the long range fights, you really want those snipers to really find the right footing, you know, like the right fitting pants. And that seems to be where Carrot can do really well with it. And like the fact that he's able to run in, get an opening duel, and then he's able to just kind of retreat from it. That's kind of what I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of him here, is like, what can he bring here with the big green?
Bit of a fake happening over here on B. The main force will be over toward A. Carrot sitting at the bottom along. You've got a few guys working their way out through middle. Now, the decision is, do they split mid to B or mid to A? I think they're going to kind of hedge their bets and play for both, but entry over towards B. 9U in middle, still maintaining that position. C4 is on its way to B. Twisted Minds have got no idea where they're going. They've got players on A, they've got players on B, and I think that's helped out, because KINGZERO also have no idea where Twisted Minds are going. It's like, if you don't know what I'm doing, or if I don't know what I'm doing, you definitely don't know what I'm doing. So it's worked out. Twisted Minds, they just kind of run in, frag everyone. They say, thank you very much, we'll take that round. A bit of a weird one, but hey, a good way to start things off. A blacklist round, first round on Port, you'll take it.
Yeah, it's looking really good so far. I mean, it's an opening round, but at least you can see, again, that creativity where I was saying Twisted Minds have really impressed me with how well they move around the map, and just, again, manipulating some of the map control in their way. So, you know, that was a bit of a crazy round in the sense that they were kind of all over the place, but you can see that KINGZERO just had no idea what to do in that kind of a situation. So everybody was kind of scratching their heads, but, you know, at least for Twisted Minds, you know, they really did twist some minds.
That's true.
But I'm dumb. I knew that'd get you.
Well, see if they can do it again, right? One round is nice. You're going to be needing more than that to win a map. KINGZERO, I'm kind of keeping an eye out as to whether or not they're going to display that same aggressive style that we saw on Black Widow here on Port. The GR side was quite proactive on the last map, but here it's been a little bit more reactive, and that's a 1-for-1 for Bin, which is okay, but it does give mid control over to Twisted Minds, and again, that gives them options, particularly with that chip sitting at the bottom along. An A split does not look like a bad shout at all for Twisted Minds given the circumstances, but they've kind of held up in mid, they've slowed things down, and that's given time for XN to come across. 9U also getting aggressive into mid, and KimBum has no idea. That's the C4 drop. Carrot unable to find the trade. 9U with a huge double. Starting to swing this game back in the favor of KINGZERO.
Yeah, really big play. And again, it comes down to an individual, a little bit of effort on that, right? I mean, 9U, the fact that he's able to get behind enemy lines, he's able to find that double kill, getting that bomb information, that's really important for his teammates. So now they know a little bit more what's going on. And Twisted Mind's a little bit split apart from this. The pause is actually going to get called here. I'm going to imagine that's going to be from Twisted Minds. We'll get that confirmation in a little bit here. But beautiful entry here from that chip. My goodness. He's able to lay the chips down. Just runs in, guns a-blazing. He's able to find that double kill, giving fresh haircuts now. And why not make it one more? He's able to find that triple kill, and they get themselves right back into winning ways here with that 2-0.
Righto, well, your prediction of Twisted Minds is actually starting to look pretty good. That's a nice, very nice start to map 3. Again, especially with the context that this is a GR-sided map, a very heavily GR-sided map. I think we've got a tech pause out here. It would be a little bit too early to be calling attack pause. You can see also on the stage there, a couple of fingers being pointed at the PC, so something that needs to be fixed somewhere. Maybe a mouse issue. These things happen, obviously. And it's an unfortunate time for Twisted Minds for this to happen. Obviously, the issues on their side of the stage as well. You wouldn't really be wanting to have a pause at this stage after going up 2-0. You know, you want to keep that momentum. KINGZERO don't have a lot of time to think in that instance, but now a little bit of a pause, even if they can't talk. It's just a perfect opportunity for KINGZERO to reset and come in to round 3 with a bit of a fresh mind, feeling a little bit better about things, but doesn't look like it's going to be too long of a pause. I think the issue may be already having been resolved. So just waiting to get back into game. Yeah, big opportunity here for Twisted Minds. It's a fantastic start to the map. Couldn't ask for better on board, Blacklist side.
Yeah, I've been, like, again, I know I feel like a bit of a broken record, but like I said, Twisted Minds, I really do want to give a lot of kudos. Like I said, the calling has been really great. I feel like, you know, this is such a refresh from what we saw yesterday. And the fact that, you know, the position, and I don't mean any disrespect of the series that happened before yesterday, you know, but the fact that they went a 3-mapper against Gaming Gladiators, you know, I definitely was kind of putting Twisted Minds probably could have, on paper, should have been able to win that. But, you know, Gaming Gladiators came out on top. But, like, just seeing the improvements of, you know, Twisted Minds and how well they're reacting to this. And this is where we talked about it. Elimination match is so critical in this moment. So now this extra pressure has really just elevated the gameplay for these guys to showcase what they can really bring to this and why they're the second best team in the region that they're in.
Opening kill of this round has gone the way of KINGZERO, so it's going to be a bit more of an uphill battle for Twisted Minds again. Smoked off at Warehouse. And I'd say Twisted Minds will be just happy enough to wait this util out. Got a lot of time still remaining on the clock. Don't need to be doing anything too outrageous. So slow it down. See if Carrot can maybe find another pick. Oh, it has been Botcute that's really been doing the lion's share of the duty for Twisted Minds so far. Another re-smoke comes through, so they really do want to go B. I mean, they've got their forces congregated on this side of the map, but the door has just been shut in their face by KINGZERO a couple of times in a row now.
Yeah, even losing the first player, like, I'm not even going to put them as a team that, you know, like, the drastic, you know, percentage drops for them. Like, I think they've really proven today that even when they're down the number, they can still do some pretty big effects to bring the round back in their favor. But Kimbum, I don't know how you get away with that. The fact that he gets a second chance at this, not bad at all. Bin actually missing that first initial duel, so Carrot's going to be able to find a little bit of a strangling one. So now all of a sudden we're down to the 4v4 with 54 seconds remaining onto this, and Twisted Minds still in the back skirts and mid, still figuring out what do they want to do. And now KINGZERO doubling up in B, leaving the 1 in mid and the 1 in A. So that's going to be YF. He's going to be the one on the top of the tower. And can he be able to deliver what he needs to in this position?
Nope.
A lot of responsibility. Bach, you gonna hit that jump.
Yeah, the solid
there
boost. We go. Not the easiest of things, I guess, but...
What happens if you go forward? Does it make noise?
Well, they drop their way back down into A, and YF unable to do anything to hold the door closed. And despite the fact that KINGZERO had an opening kill in this round, it looks like it's going to be a clean one for Twisted Minds. They have just slaughtered them all, and then it's come back in the other direction. C4's up on the site.
Oh, no.
Parrot's got to get up there quickly. He can get the plant. He's got time. Get it down on the floor.
Oh no, he gets off of it.
Why has he faked it?
Oh, no. Did he realize he had no time?
He had time.
No, I just wonder if he like thought he had more time. I mean, that like it just didn't make any sense. Like he should have just committed to the plant. It would have bought him something, and then he could have at least found a kill. But I know there was somebody hot on his heels making some noise. But again, like you're on a 1v3, like you just there's nothing to do there. So that was just a very, very poor decision in a big moment like that. But like you said, it looked like it was so good for Twisted Minds. But KINGZERO, a rabbit out of the hat. We don't know how they did it, but they do it.
Oh, geez. I don't know if it was KINGZERO that did it or if Twisted Minds was the one that did it. Like, really, I think Twisted Minds kind of gifting that one to KINGZERO in the end. I'm trying to think of a carrot joke right here, you know, because we were just talking about rabbits and hats, and I thought carrot on a stick, but I'm just not that intelligent, unfortunately.
Yeah, when I think of carrots, I just think of Bugs Bunny. I don't know why. Well, it doesn't matter, because Bugs is gone this round.
Yeah, that's the carrot on the stick for KINGZERO, actually. Big incentive to now win this round as they find themselves 5-on-4 lead again.
And you know, we talked about this a little bit as well, but like in a map like this, like we said, there's so much reliance on the snipers, right? Because a lot of long range fights, a lot of, you know, really awkward angles you have to clear. So the fact that Carrot does get taken out this early, that does make it more problematic here for Twisted Minds. So now they have to switch up their game plan. They realize, okay, look, DatChips, he's going to go try to get himself boosted into mid right now. It is a good position, but he's hoping he's going to be able to find a flank. And Kimbum, oh, I thought maybe he could have got that timing, but XN is close on the heels. He's close onto this, and he's got the rifle for it. It could be man for the job, and again he is, and he finds that triple and just takes everything away in his path. They cannot seem to find the answer when he gets that rifle in his hands and that close and personal. And my goodness, we're right back into this game with a 2-2.
How does he keep getting away with it? He should not be getting this many multi-kills.
No, it just seems like I said, he's just one of those guys that I feel like statistically, like hopefully we can pull that stat up a little bit later here in the tournament, but with this guy with the M14, like he has really just proven, like I just again elevated him so much where he's finding these triple kills and double kills at, you know, at minimum it feels like.
Just a monster with the spray down, really. 7-2. The only reason that KINGZERO have got these rounds so far pretty much is XN. Everyone else having a middling to poor performance on their behalf. But Twisted Minds, you feel like they've really missed a trick here. They definitely had the opportunity to be fully in control of this map. And they've actually let it kind of pull back a little bit. So pretty much anybody's game at this stage. A very slow approach from Twisted Minds. We sort of highlighted that on Black Widow, that they do tend to take a little bit more time on their BL side than some other teams. They're not liable to bring too many pace changes at all. And I dare say that's not going to change up too much. If you're not going to play quickly on Subbase or Black Widow, you're definitely not going to be doing it on Port BL side either. Being one of the more difficult BL sides in the entire map pool.
Nine, you getting a little bit more aggressive here, looking for the drop, and he gets that intel. Doesn't do any damage, but at least he gets some of the information here. So now that triple player set up here for KINGZERO. Oh, he's going to re-aggress. He's going to try to just, again, poke and prod as much as possible. Finally realizing, okay, look, they might not commit to this. Good utility damage a little bit against Mouse V. But under a minute remaining onto this, and Twisted Minds have not really gained a whole lot of real estate, I should say. Might try to go for the A-pop onto this one. They have been successful in it, and the fact that YF has been taken out 3 times, he hasn't been able to find any sort of, you know, abilities making that connection here with the sniper. It's a decent read. And they commit to this fake, though. Kimbum's just trying to, again, be a little bit more of a distraction, just keep these guys here just to allow that better fight situation on the A side.
Flashes over the top from Twisted Minds. He's going to pull the extra rotator across, but that's a very important kill from YF. He's got a chance at another one here as well. Solo holding the A side. He doesn't need to keep peeking anymore. He gets the assistance through from XN, and that'll be that. KINGZERO have woken up on the GR side, and maybe those first couple of rounds that Twisted Minds got gave us some element of hope, but it's coming crashing back to reality now for Twisted Minds, as that's 3 on the trot for KINGZERO.
Yeah, And you kind of see in that kind of a round too, it just felt like Twisted Minds. It almost like, I wonder if there was too many cooks in the kitchen, in my opinion, because you could see that they almost looked a little bit hesitant on what they wanted to do. They had a decent idea with the fake at B, and you could tell the plan of attack was, okay, look, let's execute at A. That's what we're going to go for. But then it felt like as soon as YF got that initial kill, like they almost got a little bit shook. They almost felt like, okay, hang on, do we really want to do this? Is this what we want? And then you could see they were just stuck in the mud, wide open in a big angle that allowed YF to be able to just run around, get himself 3 kills nonetheless. And I said, and made a bit of a comment that, you know, he was 0-3 and now he's right back into an even scoreline. So Twisted Minds, now when the getting's a little bit tough, this is where hopefully we don't see them kind of getting a little bit stagnant on their gameplay. Realizing it's all the way the distance of a map 3, everything on the line here for the elimination like we talked about. We're starting to see some deficiencies coming in from the Vietnamese team here, but maybe they can still rebound. Maybe they can get themselves back into fighting form. It's not too late.
It's definitely not. But that time is ticking. There's a key crushing in the future. It's a question of whose key will be crushed. Change in approach this time from Twisted Minds. Smoke to B, smoke to top mid. So they're going to try and force their way in through mid. They're just really going to try and batter down that front door. YSH, though, holding strong and been there to help out. That is a very favorable passage of play for KINGZERO, which is only going to get better. Has been and 9U combined for another kill. It is just Mouse left alive, and he's in a 1v3. He's got no HP. What do you even do here? Well, go for the TRG, the one-hit kill. Not going to be connected either way, and so that is 4 for KINGZERO. 4 in a row as well.
Yeah.
I lived through a drought when I was growing up, Laz. I don't know if you know that. Australia was in a bit of a drought.
I do remember that, actually.
But seems like the drought is here for Vietnam as well.
It definitely feels like it right now. Yeah, it's just unfortunate because, again, we're seeing them getting a little bit slow. They're trying to play this, again, slow pace. Now they're finally picking it up a little bit. They go from 3rd to 4th gear, realizing, look, we got to do something different. Let's go for a run. Let's see what we can do. Get the laces up. But look, it feels like KINGZERO realized that the laces are on the wrong feet. They're just tumbling over. And now Bakute by himself on the 1-on-3. He's got the flank. He might be able to find the 2, and indeed he does. This is turned around on its head. This 3-on-1 is now turned to the 1v1. Does Bakute know? I can't believe they missed the shot. 9U, he's been so lethal and so dangerous, but now when it's getting really difficult, he still is able to come through in the clutch moment.
Yeah, the problem for Bakute is he didn't have the C4. If he had the C4, he had options. He could have exited and gone over toward A, but he had to go into warehouse to get the C4, and that was held down by 9U, and unfortunately for Bakute, even despite such a nice flank, it's still not going to matter. And you can see the frustration is starting to show through. Risky fight for 9U to be taking, but wins it, backs himself, and it's a big victory for KINGZERO as they go up 5-2. Tac timeout does come through. Twisted Minds scraping the bottom of the barrel now to try to find something that they can get done on this BL side. They don't need much more. They really only need 1 or 2 more rounds to feel actually quite good about this half, but it feels like those rounds are so elusive at the moment. They've just got to be saying, look, guys, let's just get 1 more. Let's get 1 more and back ourselves on the GR side, because GR side, we should still be able to win this if we get 3 on BL, but just about getting that 1 more round.
Yeah, it is really about, you know, getting that 1 more 2 rounds would be huge for them just to feel a little bit better, you know, going onto the GR side. But I do like that, like I said, it was much needed of a pace change. We needed to see something a little bit different happening, and they try it, and unfortunately it wasn't as coordinated as it should have been, but that was nicely done from KINGZERO, the fact that they were able to be prepared for that. I mean, their setup at B was perfectly set up in the sense of like expecting that warehouse kind of pop, but Bakute almost making it very interesting with the mid flank. I would like to see, you know, Carrot maybe being the first person for that initial duel if possible, because if he can find it, or if he can outclass someone like YF, again, like that would just create a lot of space for these guys, and it makes it harder for the GR side to work with, right? Then you have to kind of go for these more like different fights. You have to go for different angles, and it's not going to be as easy for YF to just kind of solely anchor the A site. But a lot of time here for anybody that's not familiar, about 1.5 minutes here for the timeout. Twisted Minds, again, just kind of cooling things down, you know, repatching, refiguring out what do we do, how do we change things up. It's been a bit of an abysmal here first half. It hasn't really been the greatest for them. It was a decent start, and then it's just been round after round here for KINGZERO, and the drought has just gotten worse. But round 8, there's only an opportunity 2 more times here for the first half, and then it's all over.
54% win rate for KINGZERO on the GR side of Port, which would, again, you'd probably say mean that they would, most cases, win a 5-4 lead. They've hit that 5. So anything they can get more will be a real bonus, but they do have to be aware again because their BL side is definitely not as strong. Just over a 40% win rate there. Any extra inroads you can make on this GR side is going to be quite beneficial in closing this map out. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch, Laz. You even know how to count that high?
No, unfortunately not. 10 if I'm lucky on a good day.
That's all you need to do, actually. Normally,
and there you go.
Well,
okay.
Just better hope we don't go to overtime.
Yeah, then we're really screwed.
Then you have to get the toes out.
Yeah.
Get the dogs out.
Get the dogs out.
No one wants that.
No one ever wants that. Oh boy. Twisted Minds right back into it. Sitting pretty, sitting slow, waiting things out. Double player from Bin and also YSH. They're close here on the right-hand side. This is a nice little bit of an off angle. Oh, but a little bit of an over peak. That's given up an opportunity for Bakute once again to be the difference maker, but it's short-lived here with the double kill. And now XN, once again, that M14 is in his hands. He is just smelling blood, and he finds it once again and has put them in the man advantage just slightly.
You talk about difference makers. I will say XN is the difference maker at the moment. That's a massive double kill for him. It's taken down low. It is 3-on-2, but 9U and XN are a breath of wind away from death. Now, this is a winnable round for Twisted Minds still. With only 30 seconds, their options are limited, and there is a flank coming through from XN, which is not something that they're going to be expecting. Carrot will be a freebie, and again, Mr. Difference Maker himself, XN, up to 12-4 now for the first half.
Yeah, X marks the spot, really. I mean, the fact that he's sitting at 12-4, like you said. Dat chip now, I mean, look, he's got 2 players that are low here from KINGZERO. So with the HK, this is the rifle that he could get the job done. He's sitting on the top of the tower. He's in the sniper bird eye view. He has to just be able to get these kills. If he can find the one shot on each of 9U and XN, this can now create something. But he's missing it. He's not able to find it. That means he has to reposition. XN does fail the job here to find more of a multi-kill. He's done so much work, but now can his teammates, can they be able to find something big? Dat chip, he is desperately looking for it, but he just can't seem to find that double. But good work from KINGZERO once again to react to the chaotic situation. They should be able to get this defused just in the nick of time.
Yeah, well played in the end, leaving it to YF in the 1v1, you know, using the extra couple of guys more as information gathering tools, doing a bit of chip damage and really setting it up for success. KINGZERO get themselves their 6th and rampaging towards a streak of 7 in a row in this first half. It was a great start for Twisted Minds, but XN again just coming up with the goods. A multi-frag from him, triple kill in that round, making a huge difference. And last round of the half, Twisted Minds would absolutely love to start and end the half with a round victory. Would give themselves a 6-3, a deficit, no doubt, but a platform that they can build off of in the second half of the third map.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, you know, KINGZERO have been able to find these rounds 6 in a row, like, I mean, that is, you know, a massive achievement, but also for the same effect here for Twisted Minds, like, that is beyond frustrating. I mean, that's when you start to really get irritated with yourselves. That's when the frustration just builds up, and that's where, you know, team dynamics can change a little bit because things are just not working out. Granted, let's not forget that some of these rounds have been close encounters. There has been a lot of 1v1 situations or those 1v2s, so just kind of lacking on the clutch, you know, a little bit of success. But nonetheless, a round win is a round win, and KINGZERO have been able to just find themselves the right formula to get themselves in a 6-2 and maybe even a 7-2 to end this first half, which would be such a massive boost for them to feel comfortable on the BL side leading into it. Twisted Minds, if they can find a little bit of a consolation prize on this, but maybe the B-pop is going to be the name of the game. But KINGZERO, they're fully ready for it. You have 3 players that are waiting on this. A good nade damage, but they're going to need more than that here, Jordan.
Now, you can see YSH and Bin are both playing anti-flash here. And it's just going to be YF that's going to play contact, and as soon as he fires a shot, the other two are going to pop their heads up and try to hold the site. It's actually a wise move from Twisted Minds to move away from B, but they're coming back, Laz, and that has me scared, because it is a very nice setup here for KINGZERO. They've also got a lot of information, 9U deep on A long, not seeing anything, so they're happy to hold on to that. And here comes the contest. The hold, as expected, is strong so far. YSH and Bin able to claim one each. The only way it could have been better is if YF hit the opening shot with a TRG, but now Datchip trying to jump forward. They've only got 13 seconds here. Twisted Minds have to be quick, and they are. Carrot and Datchip, who finds a double, give them a chance at a third. It's 9U that will have to try to salvage a 1v3. He gets a nice opener onto Datchip, but he's still got a couple more to find.
Yeah, and if it's anybody, it's going to be 9U too. I mean, look, he hasn't put himself in more of the big score lead, but he has proven to be very scary with this rifle. He can bring a lot of impact into it, but he has to work with the timer. Halfway through already, Carrot and Mouse V, they're just playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game, and there we go. They finally get the job done. They get themselves around after so many in a row of 6. And at least they'll get something here leading into the second.
That could be a hugely impactful round. Again, remembering GR side of the map. So we still have yet to see how strong Twisted Minds are going to be on this GR side. But I think conventional wisdom would say a pass score is around 6-3. Huge double from Datchip. I mean, it could have been more for Twisted Minds, no doubt. It could have been 4. A couple of rounds there that they did let slip. But end of the day, they've got something to work with, so they can't be feeling too bad going into this second half. And I think we're going to still have quite a close third and final map between KINGZERO and Twisted Minds.
Ooh, that nade actually went a bit too deep. I don't think it made it all the way through here. So XN actually does survive. Doesn't really take any. He doesn't take any damage at all, actually. So he's able to kind of be granted a good opportunity here, wading through onto short. Twisted Minds. Single sniper here for Carrot. I was curious if they were going to try to mix it up a little bit here for the defense, but no. They'll stick to their normal weapon composition on this one. 3 players at A, so they definitely have a good idea of this. They have some inkling that KINGZERO might try to go for the A pop on this one.
Slow creep forward from KINGZERO into Warehouse. That contact play is going to work out. A lot of space without giving up a whole lot of contest.
It's a bit too much space, though. I think, you know, this is where Twisted Minds are allowing a lot of control here for KINGZERO to just do whatever they want. That's a little bit scary because right now you're playing the guessing game. You're just kind of thinking, okay, we don't know where they are. We have no intel. Like, they're just going to hold their positions and just hope for the best.
Deep smoke on long. You have a little bit of a probe into Warehouse as well from Bokyu. They've got the info. There's nothing happening toward B. It's going to result in a pre-rotate from Kimbum out of mid into A. Mouse will come across to pick up middle. KINGZERO starting to make their way forward with the cover of the smoke. Spin was not spotted. Kimbum will go down. He's found himself a double on the entry. And that is the A site taken with ease by KINGZERO.
Yeah, and again, this is exactly what I was kind of saying, is like the fact that, you know, for the GR side, in my opinion, you just cannot play that stagnant. You can't play in these positions where you just hold the angles, hope for the best, and just kind of frag out and lock it down. No, you need to know that intel. You need to have a good inkling or try to know some kind of information. Like the fact that they just sat in their positions, didn't move a muscle, I think that just allowed KINGZERO to feel really good about this. They felt very comfortable. They got so much information, and it was an easy execution in that A. And the fact that Bin, I think he was able to finish that with a double kill, just running around. He was able to get underneath onto tower. That's just a big mistake here for Twisted Minds. Now the going to getting tough. A 7-3 has been secured here for KINGZERO, and Twisted Minds now needing the turning point. They need something big to happen. Somebody needs to pull up the bootstraps to get something done in this moment.
Yep. Need a bot cute in the final round of the first half moment. Double kill on the entry into B. He is the one that's standing tall at the moment at 12 and 8, but to highlight someone like Kimbum, 2 and 10, Carrot. Nice kill from him. 4 and 7 coming into this round, but he has a big job to play. Sniper on the defensive side of Port is always going to have an impact. It's pivotal in holding this A site. If Carrot can improve those numbers, maybe there's a way back in here for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, we definitely need to see a little bit more effort. Like you said, the fact that it's only one player that, like, statistically is putting up the big numbers. Everybody else is kind of just in the mid-pack. There's not really anybody else that's doing some good work. Chip, unfortunately, tries to go for a little bit of a play. But, again, a solo effort, no trades. This is scary. Decent nade, though. That's not bad at all. That's going to do some good damage onto 3 players, but is that going to be enough that they're this wounded?
Call that more than a decent nade.
All right, it's a good nade.
It's a good nade for sure. You're down so much HP on a lot of your players. It does just make it a bit more difficult to swing into sights with confidence. Stray bullet or 2 will finish you off. KINGZERO get a little bit scared in this round. They're not too sure where they want to go. They're eventually going to have to default to something. 30 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be a B hit. INU has been able to push forward quite nicely. BotCute gets the info, though. They are aware this is going to be a B hit with 24 seconds left on the clock, and BotCute steps up. Mouse as well to help him out and ensure the trade can't come through. This will be a round win for Twisted Minds. And they are getting right back on that bike and ready to race. XN surely can't do anything here. At 11 seconds to work with, he'll go down, and Twisted Minds are not done yet.
Yeah, I was kind of holding my breath a little bit there, too, because it was like, look, it's XN. He's close in there, like he's at a bit of an angle that he could get some fights, but yeah, no, nicely done here from Twisted Minds. They're able to finally get something moving a little bit here, but we're going to need to see some of those rounds going a little bit more consecutive. Carrot's getting a little bit more aggro as well. Now they're going to double sniper. So now Chip says, okay, look, I'm going to join you here, Carrot. I'm going to try to see what I can do to help you out. We're going to try to play the snipers in the long range. We know that we need to do something a little bit differently. This is a nice variety. This is a nice experiment to see if this could be something they want to keep moving with. Carrot is realizing, look, I got to make a bit of a play. I got to go through B main. This is nice from Twisted Minds. I feel like tactically this is a good idea because they're going to put him as the playmaker, somebody that needs to get the opening, then allowing them to reset their composition here on the GR side.
Carrot's changed his position up. He's not on A anymore. Playing aggressive, line over toward B. Has been smoked off by his team, no less. Still hoping for an opportunity through that smoke, which is not likely to come. Bin himself just kind of keeping an eye on it. Neither of these players are actually over-aggressing on this line.
And now Twisted Minds, once again, you know, Carrot is still playing that a little bit of an aggro position. Okay, so now he realizes, okay, he goes for the shot, falls back, but he actually does want to recommit to this. He is the sole player at B right now. You can see the Twisted Minds, they put a bit of a 2 and 2, 2 in mid, 2 in A, leaving him just be the sole line of defense, but now he's going to be rejoined with his comrades. So this is good because now, with time ticking away with under a minute, KINGZERO, they have to get moving. Again, they have not really explored a lot of options here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a Hail Mary. All 5 players committing to the A site. You do have YF at the bottom along. Try and make sure no one can pop their heads up on the site itself. Bin getting the opener. KINGZERO starting to make short work of this A bomb site, and the final player on the site itself will go down. That should surely be a round for KINGZERO. Kimbum, he's going to hide. He's going to hide inside the smoke and do what he can, but there's nothing to be done. 8-4, KINGZERO find themselves another round on Blacklist, and the game is slipping away from Twisted Minds.
It just feels like, in my opinion, I'm starting to think Twisted Minds are getting in their own head. I think they're starting to, you know, be a bit more stagnant. They're not really playing the way they were. I mean, the first 2 maps, I was saying a lot about like the creativity, like how they were, you know, mechanically moving around the map. I'm not convinced of it anymore. I feel like they've just really been hesitant on plays they want to make. Chip's going to get aggressive, maybe. Oh, Chip! I thought maybe he should have been able to at least get that double kill, but not bad at all. That's something.
You can even see Twisted Minds trying to find that extra player. A nade thrown into mid, a nade thrown into connected there as well. Neither of them connect. KINGZERO knows as soon as they take that fight, they just need to back out because the nade damage can finish off an extra player or 2. So quite wisely played in the end by KINGZERO. Obviously a lot of info going over to Twisted Minds there, but in the end it's all kind of for naught. It ends up being a 1-for-1, and KINGZERO have changed their plan. So Twisted Minds have got, now again, no idea really what is coming.
Well, I'm glad the way that they did this, because I was thinking this might be a bit obvious here for KINGZERO to go, like, look, they're going to do something big. They're going to try something with a bit more, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more of a heroic attempt. But the fact that, like, it only was just Datchip kind of playing this one-man army position with the quick boost, and they weren't expecting it, I really liked it. Because if you would have missed that jump, they wouldn't have committed to anything at all. But now with the 8-4 scoreline, we're going to hit a little bit more of that slowing down approach. We're going to kind of coast this round, because now with 3 players remaining for Twisted Minds, you don't want to be too adventurous. This is where it gets really tough, because you have to make the right decisions of the positioning of the GR players. KimBum just going to be watching on the back skirts of mid here, kind of watching for the long cross, but also expecting somebody underneath. He does find XN. That's a big pickup, but 9U quick on this one. He's just going to run on in. He's going to try what he can. Mouse B just putting a lot of spray control into this M14, but KimBum's here with them. They might not expect this double player commit. KINGZERO, they're not even going to entertain it, but that's going to be the bomb drop. This is a good kill, all down to YF. He needs to do something big on the 1-on-2. And he has to be able to find this kill.
He's got time. He's got 30 seconds. He can go back over towards A. He's seen that engagement at Warehouse, and he's decided, I'm not interested in that. So a very quick call to go A, and that is going to allow him to get a plant in. And if he does that, it's going to be a winnable round. This mine's already on the rotate, though, so they may be able to catch him on a bit of a timing here. Let's see if YF expects it. Oh, I don't think he quite did. KimBum managing to put him down to 13 HP with a couple of shots there into the shoulder. Both Mouse and KimBum both a one shot. This is so doable for YF. He's put it into the 1v1. He's got a grenade as well. Mouse is going to walk right into it, turns away, luckily just in time, but he's been spotted, and time very much a factor now as YF just continues to keep an eye on things. He's not really playing for the timer. He spots Mouse, and now is when he can start to back it up and play that time. I think he's won the round. I don't think Mouse can get this one done. He can't get up onto the site, find the kill, and then defuse. It is round over. KINGZERO have won it, and Twisted Minds are now facing elimination. They will be the first team out of Esports World Cup if they lose this next round.
Yeah, indeed they will. And again, I cannot give enough credit here for YF, man. Like, again, I talked about his sniping abilities. I said he brings so much to the server, and the fact that he was able to play a 1v2 like that. I was questioning his position a little bit on the top tower. I thought maybe he was going to reposition himself, but no, he played that picture perfect. And Twisted Minds, they just took too much time, they took too much thought into it, and look at what happens to them. They lose a critical round that they absolutely needed.
Backs very much against the wall now, Twisted Minds. If they've got anything, they need to pull it out here. Carrot is going to try take matters into his own hands. He is just going to try and take a fight here with Bin, and that's not worked out. A missed shot, and that may be the death sentence for Twisted Minds at the Esports World Cup. We didn't have high expectations for this team, but it is still rough to say goodbye so early.
And especially just the way that they played on the first 2 maps. Like, I know the score lines might, show a little bit differently, but when you were kind of watching closely, they were playing some really solid CROSSFIRE. But it feels like maybe that gas tank has just gotten a bit depleted here. And now it's all down to this. They're going to need to pull up 5 rounds, bringing this all the way through. Bach is going to be blind as a bat, but maybe he might be able to react fast enough. No, he will not. And now 9U, he's going to try to lead the charge here. Look at this spray control. Both of them just find the openers. 1, 2, 3. Why the heck not?
Datchip knows this one is pretty much done. He's going to need an absolute miracle to save the day here. He's got Util getting dumped in his direction. Smoke, nade, flash, everything. He is not allowed in. XN, of course, fittingly will be the one to get the final kill in this game as they do eliminate Twisted Minds from the competition here at Esports World Cup CROSSFIRE. It is KINGZERO that will survive. But remember, they are still down in the lower bracket. They still have a run yet to make to get through to the playoffs. But at least for now, they survive.
KINGZERO, the fact that they're able to put themselves, through that little bit of a tough decision, they get themselves done here with the 2-1 victory. Now that means that they're going to be playing Gaming Gladiators here for the decider match. And that's to be honest, not to put any biasness here for the CFWL teams, but I do